at Belmont at the Big A. Champion trainer Charlie Appleby looks to add to his growing tally of U.S. graded stakes triumphs with a strong duo in the Man of War. It's led by Nation's Pride, a multiple Group 1 winner. He's already taken a top prize on U.S. soil. Could a New York bred stamp his ticket to the Belmont Stakes? The Wine Steward is the horse to beat off a narrow defeat in the Lexington in his 3-year-old return. Last summer's surprise Diana winner returns for her 5-year-old debut. Will White Beam be a one-hit wonder, or can she build on her Grade 1 upset at Saratoga? Straight No Chaser gets right down to it. He is fast early. Can he last in today's Grade 3 Run Happy, off almost a year away? And it's opening day at Oceanport, New Jersey. We'll have live on-site coverage as we welcome Monmouth Park to the lineup, including 3-year-olds in the Long Branch. All that and more coming up on this special Saturday edition of America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Wolf. Welcome to South Ozone Park, New York, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon and a very strong card on this Saturday here in New York. Also, as we mentioned, opening day out at Monmouth, but potentially a star coming out party in the sprint division. We'll see if Joey Freshwater can back up his performance last time out for Linda Rice, and can White Beam build off that performance in last summer's Saratoga, in which she surprised everybody in that Grade 1 win. She makes her 5-year-old return. Our ABR race of the week, of course, the Man of War, and a strong 1-2 punch for Godolphin. All that coming up on this program. Beautiful weather for it as well. 4 graded stakes, the first of which coming up with White Beam in that Grade 3 Bogey. Part of a strong 1-2 punch for Chad Brown in that race. 104 post time in our ABR race of the week. That is the Grade 2 Man of War. With me, pretty strong crew, winningest rider in the history of this racetrack here, Richard Migliori, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling. And as we look ahead to all these really strong races, that Man of War we get very excited about, because 2 very good horses coming here from Charlie Appleby.
Both of them have been successful on North American soil, but I think Nation's Pride probably a little better of the 2, at least up to this point.
He's the more highly regarded one, obviously, and he's going to be a strong favorite here. Whether or not he deserves to be a strong favorite, when I think there's a lot of options in this race, I don't know. He's 8-5 in the line. I could see him being lower in here, and Frankie Dettori coming to ride's not going to hurt. Doesn't hurt to have Flavien Prat, and it's nice to look at that list of riders and see some of the top riders in the game back here in New York.
Well, Nation's Pride, former favorite. I was a little perplexed by that, and his stablemate wound up winning it that day, Rebels Romance of the Breeders' Cup Turf, but a multiple Group 1 winner, winning at the highest level. And this was in that Canadian International. I know, Andy, you've talked about this not being the strongest field, but he got a big figure for it.
He did, and I'm not going to argue with the 104 buyer. I just don't feel like he's necessarily that good, and I can't really judge necessarily how good the race was in Bahrain last time, but it was a disappointing effort by him. He's okay. Charlie Appleby has been extremely good at being opportunistic and taking horses over here and taking advantage of circumstance. Frankly, I'm surprised Coolmore doesn't do it more. There are good purses, prestigious races over here, and Charlie Appleby has been a master at taking advantage of these circumstances in America over the last few years.
Made really an immediate impact, Meg, when he started bringing horses over here to win at the highest level.
I think he's just so good at identifying what horses will adapt to American-style racing, tighter racetracks, different ground, normally speaking. But also, the world has gotten smaller. It's just easier to ship horses around than it used to be. You know, a trip like this would knock a horse out for months. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, we don't see the Euros necessarily the highest level coming over outside the Breeders' Cup, but the Breeders' Cup really changed. It used to be with these races in the fall here in New York, the Canadian International, Washington, D.C. International. We saw many great stars, including All Along and Dahlia going back some years, but many others as well.
Here's today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. We are fast, good on the turf. For those that are going to be watching later on when we're off the air, the last race here in New York does come off the grass. Everything else remains. Monmouth, they are fast and firm, and we'll get to our crew for live opening day coverage in just a little bit. You can play all the action by getting signed up. Started with Naira Bets, the offer for new members. There it is. $200 deposit match new customer bonus. Punch in that code to receive it. Match 200 at sign up. Again, right there at nairabets.com, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We're going to kick things off on this Saturday card with a $16,000 claiming race, 1 turn mile, and the horse with the rail, Blake B. Off the claim is the horse to beat right now at 8-5. As you take a look at the current odds, let's head downstairs, check in with Acacia Clement.
Hey, Hey, Greg, and we'll start there with your favorite in Blake B, who is the favorite. First off, the claim for Carlos David, and I thought, though not being able to get the win last time, was very game, digging down inside. Well, Daddy Knows was able to win with that kind of outside pressing trip. This is a horse I haven't seen in a while, but typically remember him being pretty laid back in the preliminaries, and he is fired up on the muscle today, dragging the groom around the paddock, very sharp. He's settled nicely out on track. I don't have any problems with your favorite and looks incredibly fit coming in for the new connections. What do you do with the 6 Cheeky Tico taking a very big drop in class? And it could just be a matter of him getting to a proper spot. I know he won to the mile and an eighth 2 back. I prefer him at a mile. One thing I didn't love is that he got kind of hot back in the paddock. Maybe wasn't warming up as freely as I would have liked to see. Certainly on the aggressive drop in class, he could win in this spot, but I did prefer the horse to his outside, the 7 Oh Trouble, who demeanor-wise was really acting very well, very calm, very relaxed in the preliminaries for a stretch out in distance. I know that it's been a long time since he's stride the mile, but I like it for him physically. He has good length to his frame. He has good leg. Again, I like how he's acting. Coming back in second off the layoff as well, where last time out I thought he ran okay, but he's better when he can be forward and maybe stretching out, Greg. He'll be able to do that in here.
9-2. Thank you, Acacia. On Oh Trouble, Eliseo Ruiz will be aboard. It's Bruce Levine. Second off the claim. There's the favorite, Mig, moving in, Blake B.
Moving up off of that claim, but a consistent sort. Post 1 doesn't make things easy for him.
I liked Blake B in here and never imagined that he would be this short a price in this field. Can Manny Franco be aggressive enough to be able to clear the front? This is a pretty wide open race. I feel a little embarrassed to land on a horse that's the 8-5 favorite in what I thought was a big open race. He was the morning line favorite 2-1, though. I should have paid attention to that.
Meanwhile, the entry, both halves of the entry you feel have equal chance to
No,
win?
I don't like the 1A at all, and I'm neutral on the 1, so I could never pick the entry because I think the 1A beat a terrible field with a perfect trip last time.
See what happens. Sam Camacho Jr. there. It's David Jacobson first off the claim with Funkenstein. That is the other half of the entry outside. It's been first or second 13 of 28 career starts. Blake B, though, the favorite as we kick off this Saturday card here at Belmont at the Big A on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin to kick things off.
And in. All set. And they're off. Funkenstein has speed. Oh Trouble. And down towards the inside, here comes Blake B. Co-Conspirator is with that early lead as well. Co-Conspirator now with the nose in front is Blake B. And the green cap at the rail is now going to be a shared second, trying to move forward there. Comes Jake Rocks, who's going to be 3 wide. 4 wide is Cheeky Tico. They line up on the front end. Oh Trouble is in the green cap, is back to 5th. At the rail progressing is Goldini. Funkenstein out in the far outside, out in the center of the racetrack. Far back early. Hang Tight is already 8 lengths the trailer. A 2-way battle for the front. It's Jake Rocks to the outside of Co-Conspirator. They're a clear 1-2 now. Blake B is holding that rail position 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. 4 wide still is Cheeky Tico. In between horses, Oh Trouble. Oh Trouble needs a way through, is bottled up in between rivals. Goldini tightly at the rail is in 6th. Now being encouraged to move forward, that's Funkenstein, is still 3.5 off the lead. Far back still will be Hang Tight. 45-4 for that posted half-mile time. Blake B wants to hold that position towards the inside, is making hard work of it right now, riding the rail, but now Blake B finds that seam. We did have a horse clip heels go down. That was Oh Trouble. Oh Trouble, Eliseo Ruiz is down on the racetrack there. It's medical personnel. Horses running freely as they reach the top of the stretch. It's going to be Blake B's got the lead. Blake B is up by 2.5, now 3 widening lengths. It will be Blake B. Eliseo Ruiz is sitting up now. He's sitting up, is moving his arms and sitting up. It's Blake B who's striding away here in the late stages. Had that incident in the far turn. Oh Trouble still running freely, but Blake B, Manny Franco, they'll win this opening race. Funkenstein towards the outside is now going to get second. Also running on there is Cheeky Tico. Co-Conspirator finishes 4th. Jake Rocks. Inquiry sign will be up on the board. And taking a look at the rider once again, he is up on his feet on the far turn.
Blake B, your easy winner here in the opener. Good news to hear from Chris Griffin that Eliseo Ruiz appears to be okay. And we're being told is actually walking under his own power. We saw Trouble get up and was loose late in the race. So hopefully everything okay with horse and rider. It appears that way. Blake B, very easy winner.
A very easy winner here. very happy to hear that Alicio Ruiz got up on his own power. Oh, Trouble galloped around behind the field. This was a situation where a young rider, who I was just praising that I think he's improving, ran up on heels, put himself in a precarious situation, and all it takes is a half an inch the wrong direction when you're that close up on heels to get an accident like that. And this is a hard lesson to learn. Thankfully,
hopefully everybody's okay.
Everybody's okay.
Yeah. The most important thing is everybody's okay. We don't know for certain about everything, but the rider is up and the horse seemed to be running. So it seems like it's okay. But, as you know, unfortunately way too well, Richie. There's so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and this was one of those situations. He just got in too close. He needed a steady back off heels. That's a lesson hard learned there.
And you got a shot of that outrider catching up with the loose Oh Trouble, so that's good news as well. Blake B, dominant performance here to kick off this Saturday card as the 7-5 favorite. 2-1A, 6-3. We're going to take a timeout. We'll check in for the first time on our program in Oceanport, New Jersey. Opening day coverage from Monmouth Park begins right after this.
Club American Oaks.
4K to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
The Jersey Shore, all about beaches and boardwalks, right? As of today, weekend warriors, especially on this cool spring afternoon, you have another option. Just 2.5 miles inland sits Monmouth Park in Oceanport, New Jersey. It's opening day at the track affectionately known as the Shore's greatest stretch. Is that colt good enough to compete in Monmouth's greatest race? Harton, 9-5 morning line favorite in today's Long Branch. Local prep for the Naira Bats Haskell. That's not till July, one party at a time. Today's celebration, all about the start of the 79th season of racing at Monmouth Park. Guessing it'll be a little warmer come Haskell Day. Live look in the paddock, Monmouth Park in Oceanport, New Jersey. Less than 10 minutes to post. until the first race of a brand new season. Just outside the paddock, sort of. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Great to be here at Monmouth Park. This is a first for us here on America's Day at the races. Couldn't be more excited about this new venture with our friends here at Monmouth Park and to present you, the opportunity to present to you the terrific racing here at the Shore's greatest stretch. Now, naturally, this is one of the biggest days of the meet, but many significant dates. Big races, marquee events to circle on your calendar. June 15th next month, another significant Haskell Prep, the Naira Bets Pegasus. July 20th, Monmouth's biggest race, Naira Bets Haskell. Following week, the Monmouth Oaks Historic Island, New Jersey Bread Festival in August. Closing day about a week after Saratoga's on September 15th. As I welcome in my co-host, the jockey who won the 2014 Grade 1 United Nations, Rajiv Mirage. Rajiv, great to have you with us. Monmouth Park, what is it about this place, this track, that makes it the beloved racing venue that it is?
Well, it's the energy, the atmosphere. When you think about the Jersey Shore feel, the party feel, and you fuse that with a family fun day at the racetrack, that's what it feels like being at Monmouth Park. You know, the community, the people in this area, they look forward to every year as their summer place to be. Almost like the East Coast version of Del Mar.
It really a blast. This summer meet here at Monmouth Park, a good crowd on hand, horses on track for the first race about 4 minutes out, and naturally a good feature to kick off the 79th season. As mentioned, these 3-year-olds in the Long Branch, race 7, important local prep for the aforementioned prestigious Haskell. 3-year-olds, mile and 70, number 1 Harton, trained by Todd Pletcher, 9-5, morning line favorite. As we say hello to the remainder of our on-site motley crew, Paul LaDuca, Jonathan Kinchin standing by. Guys, a very happy opening day at Monmouth to both of you.
Well, happy opening day to you, Lafitte, Rajiv as well. JK, it's good to see my good friend come down here, down the turnpike, and we do got a good edition of the Long Branch in race number 7. And we'll start with number 1, Harton. And he ran a good race last time at Keeneland. This horse has had a lot of talent, too. What did you see last time out in Lexington?
He seems like one of those 3-year-olds that's really improving, right? Kind of going in the right direction. A horse that kind of, was knocking on the door as a maiden and finally got through at Tampa and then shows up in the Tampa Bay Derby. Ran well enough that day, but it's like that race at Keeneland where it feels like kind of is all starting to come together, and that's just kind of what this whole thing is, right? Yes, of course, the biggest 3-year-old race in the world is the Kentucky Derby, but it's not always about just that. There's horses that can continue to improve and get ready for races like the Haskell, like the Travers, and I think Harton feels like one of those horses maybe that's kind of going to be coming around towards the end of this year.
Yeah, I agree. He's a horse that's definitely improving, Lafitte. That's going to be our feature race on this race card. We do get horses going to the gate for race number 1, and we are proud to be back. I was here 15 years ago, Lafitte, and it seems like the same people are still here and the same camaraderie as well. JK and I are having fun already, and we're only, 6 to 7 minutes into the show.
And just moments away from the first race of a brand new season, horses on track here. Race number 1, 2 minutes out here. A $16,000 allowance optional claiming event, a 6-furlong sprint. We do have turf racing this afternoon. There was some rain yesterday. Turf course listed as firm. And a post parade that took place just moments ago. Vespucci 5-2, the current favorite. I thought he might be a clear-cut decisive favorite in this one, Raj. We'll see how he looked pre-race. We kick things off with John Jay, 5 races at Tampa over the last 6 months.
Yeah, and a very impressive 2 3/4 lane win last time at Tampa. Steps up now to the non-winners of 2 other than allowance.
Number 2, DePoli, 2 lifetime wins, both right here.
Yeah, DePoli's a long shot in here. Horse that has a tendency of breaking slowly and then rushing up. Let's see if he gets off better today.
Something to watch from the start. Number 3, then, Jeopardy James, once a $585,000 purchase.
Yeah, $585,000 purchase. Coming off of his best lifetime race last time after being bumped at the start, running 5 wide and still managing to get up for second.
There is Jeopardy James, 7-2, representing the third choice as they march towards the starting gate. Number 4, Little Nye, a daylight debut winner last October, but unraced since.
And this beautiful gray filly was such an impressive winner last year, and she's the local kind of hero of hometown connections. Eddie Owens, small barn with a really nice horse here.
Big class drop, more on Vespucci in a moment, then causes trouble for 10-time Monmouth champion rider Paco Lopez.
Yeah, causes trouble. Definitely going to cause some trouble on the front end today because this one has a lot of speed early.
Got Thunder, another familiar face, owned and trained by David Jacobson.
Yeah, this was a $750,000 purchase that's kind of just knocking at the door recently.
It's always special. First race, any track on opening day. Post time, we've just about reached for the first race here at Monmouth Park. Another look at Vespucci. Raj, this is your top selection. No stranger to our audience. Last 2 races at Aqueduct. This was 2 back, 9th of March. The rain falling, a good track. Vespucci, Raj, prominent throughout. He's 11-1 and does everything but win.
Yeah, well, and this was a very impressive race on many levels. Didn't get the win, just got nosed out, but this was his first race since last June, so it's coming off an extended layoff. Did all the dirty work, running fast fractions and looking like he had an insurmountable lead coming into the stretch, and just getting a little leg weary late after, doing all the dirty work, getting nosed on the wire by expected value. That was a very impressive run, and if he can duplicate that, this isn't even going to be a close race.
And he's the second choice currently. Vespucci at 5-2. Paul, J.K., what do you guys think as they circle about before post time here?
Well, I think J.K. and I are landed on 2 different horses. We'll start with J.K. with the 7 here, Causes Trouble. And I know you like this horse a little bit. And you think this horse can maybe stalk a little bit or get to the front end?
Well, I just thought this horse had the most speed, right? I mean, if you look at the pace figures of this horse, it really looks like the type of horse that wants to get away from these types. And when it comes to these 6-furlong dirt sprints, I'm always in look for horses that are going to be forward, horses that can take control of a race. And the 7 Causes Trouble feels like that type of horse. And then I'll just hold my breath hoping that your horse doesn't catch me.
I'm kind of with you. I get where Vespucci is, but when you look at Causes Trouble, this horse won 7 races last year, so likes to win races. I landed on the 3 Jeopardy James. I just think the horse is, I know a lot of second place finishes, but the last 2 races at Monmouth Park, you get Daniel Centeno, who's a very good rider, and you're getting 7-2. So we're not giving you the favorites here, as the 4 has gone down to your favorite right now, Lafitte at 2-1.
From our 3 handicappers, 3 different selections, and none with the current favorite in Little Knee, who's 2-1 as we watch DePoli act up at the start. What are we looking for right from the start? As you mentioned, DePoli, who has had issues getting out of the blocks.
Yeah, DePoli is acting up behind the gate, a horse that has a tendency of breaking slowly. What's really looking for in this race, a key factor early on in this race is what does Melissa Irioro do on the number 1, John Jay. This is a really fast horse early, and he's going to be the one that's going to be the X factor in challenging Causes Trouble on the outside. And if they go into too much of a speed duel, it's going to really set up for a closer like Vespucci or Jeopardy James. Melissa has no option. She has the inside post. She's going to have to gun this horse out of the gate. And I envision there's going to be a hot speed duel between her and Causes Trouble.
Monmouth's new voice, Matt Dinnerman, standing by. First call at Monmouth Park to kick off the 79th season of racing.
To the outside. We're ready to go. We're off and running at Monmouth Park in the 2024 season. Causes Trouble gets the first call of the meet, is out on the lead with Little Knee. John Jay to the inside, not far off, and John Jay on the rail with Little Knee. They're together. Causes Trouble right outside of them in the 3rd position. Got Thunder is next, 4 deep, a gap of 2 to DePoli. He's settling off the pace today with Vespucci, and that leaves Jeopardy James to trail the field with a half mile to go. Melissa Iorio has John Jay in front by just a neck. Little Knee to the outside right there, hounding as they surge into the 4th turn. Vespucci getting a good trip 3 wide. He's made his way into 3rd. He's sent along from that position. Causes Trouble also pushed upon as well. DePoli down on the inside, 3 behind Vespucci. Backpedaling, needs to re-rally. Got Thunder is going to take the outside route. He's 4 deep off the turn, within range as they come off the corner in the opener. John Jay loses the lead to Little Knee, who has the lead. Vespucci wheeling his way through between horses. Little Knee got the jump and kicks away. Little Knee Knee by 2.5 now. Got Thunder second. Little Knee, Jairo Rendon shaking away, and Little Knee is going to win the opener decisively. Little Knee over Got Thunder. Vespucci was third, and DePoli was fourth.
Doesn't race often, but when he does, that's what he does. Little Knee, 2 lifetime wins, 2 daylight victories, about over 6 months apart.
Yeah, massive performance here from Little Knee, and great job by trainer Eddie Owens getting him ready off this extended layoff. The race, that was a hot pace. Little Knee was involved in it. He absorbed a lot of pace pressure being in between horses. The pace collapsed, but he didn't. He rebroke, and I mean, this was an extremely impressive performance.
Little Knee in the opener. Results when we come back. Plus, you heard the guys. Big day of stakes racing in New York, and it starts early. Race 2, Grade 2 Beaugay, featuring a Grade 1 winner, White Beam. Took down last summer's Diana at Saratoga. What'll she do today?
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part where you can play all the action. If you've not already, get signed up, started at NYRA Bets. Go to nyrabets.com. Grade 3 Beaugay is next. Mile and a 16th outer turf. The return of Grade 1 Diana winner White Beam from last year. We start with Coral from the rail.
She is the speed, hoping to get a piece of this for black type.
Butch Reed brings in Nisi Marie, 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, deep closer in a race with not a tremendous amount of speed, taking a lot of money.
Dominant win from Spirit and Glory last time we saw her.
She doesn't have a lot of speed, but she has enough that she could be forward and get good position here.
And part of a Chad Brown duo, here's Espray, 4-year-old return.
Very versatile filly, can lay up close and could improve from 3 to 4. They usually do.
Surprise Grade 1 winner of the Diana last summer, White Beam for Chad Brown.
You never quite know as fillies or mares get older, and she's a new mare, that they'll maintain their good form. But I thought she ran very well last time when she finished 4th in a fast pace out in California, and she looks to be the one that'll be on top of the pace and is much the worst to beat.
4 to 5 favorite, so there she is. She was the 4th choice of the 4 Chad Brown entrants in that Grade 1 Diana last year. Went off at nearly 8 to 1 and surprised a lot of people in that victory.
Yeah, she really did run well to get this done and beat the very good in Italian. While in Italian obviously wasn't as good as she was the prior year, she was still very, very good, and she outgamed her, and she did it by being put into the race. And that's one of the things that we saw Flavien Prat be very good at. Now, Flavien is not riding her. Flavia is staying on Espray, but Irene Ortiz picks up the mountain.
Welcome to those just joining us on Bally Sports SoCal in San Diego. Those already with us on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races and the first of 4 graded stakes races. The Beaugay with last year's Grade 1 Diana winner White Beam making her return. Coming up on our coverage here, Greg Wolf, Richie Migliori, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling, and we get set for early graded stakes action on this card. And White Beam, can she be as good as she was in that Diana last summer?
Well, I do think she has a tactical advantage because there's not a tremendous amount of speed in here, and she could actually make the running. Last time, Spirit and Glory showed uncharacteristically good speed, but the other filly's been very fast paces.
That was a very slow pace. Now, I imagine the long shot Quarrel on the rail is going to go to the lead, but I think you'll see Irad Ortiz be aggressive with White Beam and stick her second. And she is the best horse if she could run to her good races, but she's a newly turned 5-year-old, and we've seen this before. Sometimes they just don't come back as good as they were in the past. And while she didn't live up to her big win in Diana, she didn't run badly in subsequent races, and in her race in the Matriarch, a fast pace that collapsed, she ran far and away the best race of the speeds. She's way the horse to beat. And the other thing is, the others have to improve to beat her. And while Nisi Marie, the 2, and the Forest Spray have decent races as 3-year-olds, they still have to get faster, and they lack speed.
White Beam with that glaring big win on the resume that kind of overshadows everybody in here as a result of that. She is the 1-2 favorite. We have her at 2-5. As we get set for this Grade 3 Beaugay coming up, White Beam part of a duo for Chad Brown. Got Asprey as well. Let's welcome in for the first time today in our coverage, Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, we'll take a look at both of them, and both of them having to come over layoffs. And we'll begin with White Beam, who we have not seen since that Grade 1 Matriarch try. And I agree with Andy. She attended a quick pace, and she just got tired literally in the last 16th of a mile. To my estimation, judging on what I saw from her going back to that Diana win, she's filled out quite nicely. And it looks as though the layoff has done her well. She's filled out behind. She's got great energy here, indicative of a horse that's going to be forward. And I like her. I'm not going to try to beat her here at 1-2, though there's some other options, and one of them does come in the presence of her stablemate in number 4, Asprey. As you look at the horse that beat White Beam as a 3-year-old, that was Surge Capacity. Well, Asprey beat Surge Capacity when they last met, which was Asprey's last race in the Grade 2 Lake Placid. Now, I was a big fan of hers last year. She really impressed me with just her overall physical presence. She was a very mature-looking 3-year-old, and furthermore, she moved beautifully. But now that she's been away from the races in a longer layoff than her uncoupled stablemate, she just looks as though a race is necessary. She looks a bit weaker across her top line and through her hindquarters. I'm going to take the wait-and-see approach with Asprey. Granted, a horse that I really liked going back to that 3-year-old season. We'll see if she can take that step forward. But Acacia, we'll take a look at Nisi Marie on your end, one that is also a newly turned 4-year-old making a great impression.
Yeah, good to see her back, Maggie. And coming into this race, I was actually planning to pick Asprey, but I couldn't agree with you more. But the one off the layoff that I was impressed with was Nisi Marie. She's a horse that has always carried a lot of good condition. And the fact that she was able to run well on some of those softer turf courses, I think even a positive for that, given her overall physical makeup. That being said, we've talked a lot about the pace, and I don't know if she's necessarily that kind of out the back type of deep closer. Sometimes she can be. But if Joelle Rosario can get her into the race, she has shown that when she's able to kind of sit even off of a slower pace, she can be in the right position. She has moved beautifully out on the racetrack. She's very calm, very relaxed off the layoff, coming back for Butch Reed and back on her preferred surface. Is she quite as good as White Beam? Not at this stage of the game, but I liked what I saw from her. And going back to 3-year-old and coming back as a 4-year-old, maybe she, at a nice price, can upset the tables today. Greg?
Acacia, thanks. We mention this trainer's name a lot. When he brings horses to New York, they always seem to run big. Butch Reed, he'll have the 2 Nisi Marie, and he's going to have likely a horse who won the Withers show up in the middle jewel of the Triple Crown. Uncle Heavy, who won the Withers.
And I think the Preakness, and Mystic Dan announced that he'll be running today, no surprise, is a much more open race than some may think. Maybe it is a match of Mystic Dan and Muth, but I think there's a number of horses that are interesting players, and I always respect Butch Reed. My problem with this horse is she's really got to improve, Nisi Marie, and she doesn't have any early speed, and there's just no pace in here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I just think she's up against it tactically a little bit.
And we didn't just gloss over that. We're going to have much more, on Mystic Dan, who will be moving on. That has been officially announced. The middle jewel of the Triple Crown. I'll try and keep that Triple Crown dream alive after that sensational ride from Brian Hernandez Jr. in the Kentucky Derby. There's a look at the odds-on favorite. 1-2 on Grade 1 winner White Beam. Has not, Andy, as you said, fairly has not quite lived up to that off that performance, but we'll see what happens here in her 5-year-old return.
Well, another thing that should be mentioned is there was a little bit of give in the ground. We'd had a little rain before the Diana, and while the listed is good, I think the courses are very good shape. There may be a little bit of give, and that can only help her.
There she is with Iran Ortiz Jr. First race back is a 5-year-old. It's the Grade 3 Beaugay. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Beaugay. And they're off. Off a step slow Spray, who's going to be the early trailer. White Beam's got early speed, so does Spirit and Glory in between horses. Spirit and Glory wants the front and will get there, is now up by a half length. White Beam goes right with her, and they move quickly into that turn. Just off of them, it's going to be Quarrel, who's going to let the front two press on, is now already 3 lengths back. Now give it 4. Back in the third position, it's another 4. Back to Espray and the trailer. Nisi Marie. White Beam goes after the lead. It's White Beam who's now up by a neck. 24 seconds flat for that opening quarter mile, and it was a pressured one as Spirit and Glory is going to come right back to the inside here of White Beam, and these two in a pace duel on the front end. It's still Spirit and Glory now with a head in front, has come back on White Beam, who's going to just try and catch a breather now. They are 7 lengths clear from Quarrel. The big long shot is alone in third, 47-4 the half-mile time. Espray is content to be second to last. Nisi Marie is at the back end of the field, about 10 lengths from front to last, and they move into the far turn together. Spirit and Glory and White Beam, they continue to duke it out. It is Spirit and Glory with a head in front. White Beam is ready to re-engage towards the outside, and here comes White Beam ready to contend for the lead. 1:11.3 for 3/4 of a mile. They reach the top of the lane, and the front two are still well clear of the rest. To the inside, it's Spirit and Glory. To the outside, it's White Beam. White Beam is trying to push on by a very stubborn Spirit and Glory. It's down to these two so far. Inside that final furlong, Nisi Marie is launching grandstand side. White Beam to the outside, Spirit and Glory. Can Nisi Marie get up in time? White Beam, Spirit and Glory, the oncoming strides of Nisi Marie in time! Nisi Marie in the final stages wins the Beaugay in a stretch running thriller. Nisi Marie wins it over a photo between Spirit and Glory and White Beam. Final running time, 1:42.4.
Trainer Butch Reed does it again on a big stage here in New York. Nisi Marie from off the pace in the Grade 3 Beaugay.
What a run from this filly, and what a ride from Joel Rosario. Have you ever seen a rider produce horses the way he does with that late run?
He has remarkable patience and the courage to make these kind of runs. Obviously, she was a very unfortunate winner. She was the 3rd best horse in the race, but then again, so was Mystic Dan, and he won the Kentucky Derby. But the reality is she got the money in here, and Joel was as cool as a cucumber. I'll tell you something. I give Jose Lezcano a lot of credit for being aggressive with Spirit and Glory the way he was, because if he let White Beam go, White Beam was going to win. And I'll tell you something. Irad had to track Spirit and Glory the way he did, because if he let that one go, he probably wasn't going to be able to run her down, as it turned out. So while it ended up costing both of them the race at the end, I think they gave themselves, in a funny way, their best chances to win. And yes, Nisi Marie got lucky because you couldn't anticipate there being a contentious pace like that, and you ended up getting it. But still, give her credit for getting there.
We've seen this time and time again with his trainer, Butch Reed, gets the Grade 3 Beaugay. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with Butch Reed. He's giving me heck. I can't remember which races go in order in the Triple Crown. Anyway, Nisi Marie, though, the horse of the moment. What a last, to first run we saw from her today.
Absolutely. And Joel, you just can't say enough about him. What a great rider he is. And he wasn't panicked. I was panicking worse than he was, thank God. So, but he did a great job, and the speed backed up to him a little bit, and he came flying.
That's always the case. We saw some really game efforts from her as a 3-year-old. Butch, how has she developed and changed now as a 4-year-old?
Well, even a couple of people in the paddock who had seen her last year said she's a bigger, stronger filly than she was last year. And I don't think there's any question about that. So as the distances get a little longer, she's even going to get better, I think. So.
Well, speaking of distance, Uncle Heavy, who we saw win the Withers here, talk a little bit about entering him in the Preakness coming up next weekend.
Yeah, we decided to take a shot. There's another horse who's just doing extremely well. He breezed again this morning and had a bullet, I think, which he never did before, but now he's kind of a different horse, much more handy horse, so we're going to take a shot.
I don't blame you. Well, congratulations here with this Beaugay win.
Thank you so much.
All right, Butch Reed, a trainer of Nisi Marie, but also maybe a classic hopeful with Uncle Heavy. Guys?
That would be something else if Uncle Heavy could pull that off, a horse who hopefully draws better in the Preakness than he did in his final Derby prep.
Well, with the race starting top of the stretch, it shouldn't be that big a deal. And the reality is that Uncle Heavy's horse is going to get ignored. And I think we all feel up here he's going to outrun his odds. He ran extremely well in the Withers, and he didn't run badly in the Wood Memorial. He was just really done in by this post.
Butch Reed is a guy that's very realistic about his horses. He's not going to run in big races just to run in them. And evidenced by every time he ships here to New York, he comes to play.
I put this horse second in my picks simply because of Butch Reed, because I respect so much that he brings the right horses to New York.
Joel Rosario, Nisi Marie, they get a nice setup, but they finish the deal here at 7-1 in the Grade 3 Beaugay, an upset early on this Saturday card.
Monmouth Park summer season rolls on with live racing action every weekend. Monmouth's 2023 season featured our highest average field size since 2015, the perfect recipe for a prolific payday. With a stakes race every Saturday and Sunday, plus our winter-only Pick 5, Monmouth Park is your summer place to profit. Joining us on site, lock in your odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Back in our coverage on Fox Sports 2, regional networks across the country, an upset in the Grade 3 Beaugay. Nisi Marie under Joel Rosario for a trainer who's had the likes of Dr. B recently. VQuist champion 2-year-old filly come here to New York and be successful, and now this horse.
And you see Joel Rosario was still last turning for home on the rail before coming out into the clear. And he still set her down incrementally, Andy. He didn't just say, oh my gosh, I got to go all in right now. He built her into this run. It looks like it's a 2-horse race, and then you see Nisi Marie coming with those big bounding strides under Joel Roussac.
And I think our track announcer, Chris Griffin, thinks he's back at Parks with the home team, coming from Parks with Nisi Marie making that run. And it was exciting. And those are the kind of exciting races to watch and stuff. And it's really such a funny chess match, Richie. And I know you've been in situations where people might knock Irad Ortiz and say, what are you doing going after Spirit and Glory? You're 1-2. You're riding the best horse. Well, as the race played out, he beat her by a bare nose or head for second. If he doesn't go, then Lezcano's going to be able to control up front and probably beats her.
Irad lets Jose Lezcano go. He never gets by her.
And
If
then he's
Jose
a goat.
Lezcano
And then he's a
doesn't-
goat.
Right.
And
if Jose Lezcano doesn't ride the race he ran, White Beam wins. I mean, so they were both caught in this position where they had to ride that race.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It really is a funny race when you think
and
about it.
And how about this filly, too? Started out for Butch Reed sprinting on the dirt. She was actually in for $25,000 maiden claiming. Pretty good decision to move to the grass.
Yeah, it's worked out fairly well for her. And, I mean, fortunate or not here, at least she showed that move forward to be able to take advantage of the circumstances. And it's a long year, and she could really be a player. And we love Butch Reed. We love when he ships in and his horses run.
First of 4 graded stakes in a thriller to kick off the action here on this Saturday card as we get back to Oceanport, New Jersey, and Lafitte.
So
exciting bogey, Greg. Nisi Marie with the ambush. Meantime, here at Monmouth, opening day, race number 2, live look. Just a $7,500 claimer, 3-year-olds and older. Same distance as today's Long Branch, mile 70. There's the favorite, Real Sensation.
Yeah, deserving favorite here, taking a massive drop in class.
Real Sensation, then Prince Fire, Maryland bred, Maryland based.
Definitely one that will be showing a bit of early speed in here, but hasn't been finishing up well in his late races.
McMagic, first runner for defending champion trainer Claudio Gonzalez.
Expect this one to be tracking the pace early and trying to just stalk the leaders.
Moving quickly, you saw first place G, the one to catch, then Succeed, 1 for 34 lifetime, and finally, on the outside, Ronsour, representing outside attending speed.
Yeah, and this is the speed of the speed, number 8, Ronsour. He's going to be trying to break and try to clear the field going into the first turn and not get hung up too wide.
That's the field, this modern claiming crew in the second race. Post time, 5 minutes as mentioned. This is the start of the 79th season at Monmouth, but the history dates back much farther than just 8 decades. In fact, Monmouth first opened July 30th, 1870 in Eatontown, not far. First of 3 separate locations. The second, right next door. Very convenient. Opened in 1890. Finally, 56 years later, the current venue unveiled. Thank you, Amory Haskell. Fast forward 1986, another change at the helm. New Jersey Sports Authority takes over. 2007, the Breeders' Cup comes to town, and it never stopped raining. Curlin wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. Biggest crowd, Haskell Day 2015, 60,000 plus in attendance for Triple Crown winner American Pharoah. There's the biggest crowd for American Pharoah, 60,000 on hand to see the Triple Crown winner in the Haskell. And now, day 1 of the 2024 season. So much to look forward to, and we're thrilled to be part of it. Raj, you were here for that 2007 Breeders' Cup. Again, just an absolute monsoon, and you were just telling me about what the conditions were actually like in terms of jockeys riding in rain, and then what that was.
Yeah, it was one of the most treacherous conditions that we ever faced. I mean, I had to ride with so many goggles just so I could have some visibility, and as soon as the dirt would splash on, you couldn't see anything. And we'd go through all the goggles, and by the time we're halfway through the race, you can't see anything. It was almost scary at times, but we made it through, and the next day it was sunshine.
The most gorgeous Northeast fall afternoon you've ever seen, the Sunday after the Breeders' Cup. Like, they deserve another one.
Oh,
just because of how poor the conditions were, like, they deserve another Breeders' Cup here at
Oh, yeah,
Monmouth
this
Park.
place definitely deserved a redo.
Some great moments, though, as you saw Curlin winning that Breeders' Cup Classic and the first ever 2-day Breeders' Cup event. Fortunately, today, the sun's out for opening day. And these aren't Breeders' Cup type runners, just $7,500 claimers, Paul. And we're looking at the favorite in Real Sensation, odds on 3 to 5. What do you think? Trustworthy?
JK, I'll let you answer that question.
I mean, I don't know about trustworthy, but I think trustworthy in a group like this, right? I mean, you look through here, and there's just a bunch of horses I have absolutely no interest in. They just all seem to be going backwards when they turn for a home. Horses would come in the stretch 6th, and they end up being 7th, beaten 20 lengths, and there's a lot of them that look like that. Real Sensation just feels like the type of horse that's going to be finishing while the rest of them aren't. I'm not crazy about closers in the dirt. So many bad things can happen, but this is without a doubt the best horse in this race.
Yeah, you're right. And it was a giant scratch of the 7 in here. I mean, because I think that was the only other horse here that was kind of a contender. You know, when I look at this race, I do think the 8 could be the horse that can maybe go to the front in here and is kind of the speed. But I'm with you. Gabriel Maldonado was on the 8 last time. He lands back on the 1 in 3 to 5. You know, you're kind of hoping you get 4 to 5 or even money on horses like this. But I know, how can you create value underneath? Do you think this is 1-8, or would you go somewhere else?
Well, I mean, I think that there's a little bit of maybe potential value underneath with the 5 first place G, and no, it's not a hunch play. I just do think that this horse, 2 races back, does have a race tactical enough, was close enough in a fast-paced race that I could give a little bit of a look. But if the 1 just shows up and does what the 1 does, I just feel like that horse is better than the rest of these.
Yeah, 3-time winner gets a lot of horses in here that are 1 for 19, 1 for 34, and as you can see, we're all on the 1 in here, Lafitte.
So you're all on Real Sensation, 3 to 5 here, Raj, and why such a discrepancy? Why do the handicappers give him such an edge?
Well, he towers over the field on paper, right? He's taking a massive drop in class. He's dropping about 10 levels because he last raced for an optional $75,000 claimer. Today, he's in for a $7,500 claimer. And then when you try to find an alternative, if you feel like it's such a suspicious drop in class, there is not much places to go, right? We're really trying to do some deep dives to find any reason to pick against him. But it just seems like the ball in his court. The dynamics of the race is very suitable to him as well because there's enough speed in here to complement his late running style.
What about the trainer coming off the title from a season ago here at Monmouth Park and Claudio Gonzalez? You're looking at first place G, the sprinter stretching out, but Gonzalez with number 3 McMagic. Last race, a total dud. I hate just arbitrarily putting line through races, but if you put a line through that race, perhaps there isn't such a discrepancy between McMagic and Real Sensation.
Yeah, I mean, if you put a line through that race and you look back at his previous races, it's still tough to make a good case for him. But there is the Claudio Gonzalez factor.
Mm-hmm.
Top trainer comes into this race, guns loaded every year. He has massive success. Look, let's try to find an alternative. Here's where I would go. I'd look at the number 5 first place G. Mm-hmm. And the reason is, of all the horses here, he's the most lightly raced. So he's the less proven to not be worthy. He's only had 9 lifetime races as opposed to some of these that have 30 races. And, just going back at it, though, it's just tough to make a case for anybody but Real Sensation.
And this was his last win, 2 starts back at Tampa. Right about here, it's not, look, these are lower level claimers. It's not going to look flashy, and he just kind of wears down his competition.
And it's the kind of trip that he's expected to get today. He's expected to be sitting off the pace a bit early, let the competition duke it out, and then come with his sweeping move. Like they said, a bold move on the turn. It's his running style. And if there wasn't a lot of speed in this race, I think that I would make a case for going against him.
And I disagree on the pace. I think first place G is in front. You have Ron Sewer commanding early on.
Yeah, well, first place G has mainly run in sprint races, so I can see why you make that case to see how it translates going longer. So I do expect first place G to be up close to the pace, if not on the lead. And here, that's a chance of first place G to win this race. If first place G, Jairo Rendon, who won the first race, chasing early on the pace and pulling away in the stretch with a little knee, if he kind of employs the same tactics, that might be where he could get the slip on Real Sensation and try to hold him off.
See how it all unfolds. Real Sensation odds on 1 to 5 at post time. Race 2, opening day from Monmouth, live on Fox Sports 2. Here's Matt Dinneman.
And they're off. McMagic was off very slowly, spots the field 4 or 5 legs. Prince Fire to the front at once from Rancer, who takes the second spot with Succeed. And Real Sensation, the favorite, right behind him in the 4th position going into the clubhouse turn. First place G 5th, 3 lengths off the pace and a huge space of 10 back to the slow starting McMagic, who would have to do something special to win it after the bad break. They charge around the clubhouse turn. Prince Fire, Carlos Hernandez showing the way here. Length and 3/4 ahead. Rancer strides into the 2nd position. Real Sensation gets into 3rd, passing Succeed back to 4th with first place G to his outside. Succeed losing position into the 5th spot now. He's 5 lengths off the pace and still a big gap back to McMagic, who can see them all down the backstretch here. Prince Fire, the leader clearly, a length and a tail. Rancer getting close. Real Sensation down on the inside. In the 3rd spot, 2 behind. Now nickeled along a little bit, Real Sensation, as he approaches the forward turn run. There's a gap of 3. First place G, he's under a hard ride. Succeed alongside of him. McMagic attempts to get closer from the back of the field, rides the rail as they round the forward turn, and there goes Real Sensation. Gabriel Maldonado just let him loose, and Real Sensation went from 3rd to 1st, and with a 1/4 mile more to get, he's all alone on the lead. Real Sensation gonna be tough here. Real Sensation by 5 coming off the turn. The rest are battling for minor awards, it appears at this point. Real Sensation coming down the stretch with an insurmountable lead. It's 10 as he strolls down the lane. Real Sensation with a dominant win. McMagic from the back of the pack getting up into 2nd, and then Prince Fire, but no doubt about it, Real Sensation in a gallop. McMagic 2nd home. Prince Fire 3rd, Succeed 4th.
So that's why he was 1 to 5, Real Sensation?
As advertised, he just towered over this field on paper, and it was pretty clear-cut, cookie-cutter kind of expected performance from a 1 to 5 shot.
Everybody else, all other jockeys, encouraging, and Maldonado still, for the most part, now ask Real Sensation to pick up his feet. It's opening day, put on a show, widens on this field, and a double-digit length victory in the end.
Prior to the races this morning, I went in the jocks room. I met Maldonado for the first time. Young man that is really trying to make a name for himself and as an apprentice. And I felt the anxiety and the pressure of the opening day. It's like your first day to make a good first impression, and everyone wants to win, get the monkey off the back. And this win for him might seem like just a 1 to 2 shot, but for a young guy coming into this meet, it's a big win for him to get his name in the books.
Get that momentum going. Ears up, easy win. Wonder how many claims in for Real Sensation by daylight and then some. 1-3-2-6-8 at Monmouth Park. Results when we come back on the superstars who performed over the years. Damascus, Bold Ruler, legends, champions, Hall of Famers, the Great Ruffian, and the superstars of the sport who performed here at Monmouth over the years.
Zandon's poetry in motion. Big horse, but light on his feet. And he's always showed up and been consistent and been right there with some of the top horses in training. In the Bluegrass Stakes, he showed his determination and his raw ability.
It's over. Zandon wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
I feel breeders will be really blown away by what a striking, outstanding-looking horse he is.
The Cross Country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every race day. Races are posted weekly at NYRA.com/crosscountry.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Gunrunner is the sire of 11 millionaires and 10 Grade 1 winners, including Gunpilot, Vava, Toyota Bluegrass winner Sierra Leone, Champion Echo Zulu, 2-time Grade 1 winner Cyberknife, 3-time Grade 1 winner Taba, track record setter Society, Locked, 2-time Grade 1 winner Gunna, and classic winner Early Voting. Hall of Famer Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Breeding in New York State just got a whole lot greener. Starting in 2026 with 2-year-olds and expanding in 2027 to include 3-year-olds and up, New York breds on the NYRA circuit will be offered purses matching the race's open company counterpart. That's a nearly 20% increase per race compared to 2023. Bowling season is in full swing. There's still time to take advantage of New York's better than ever state bred incentives. Visit NYRA.com/NYBreds for more info.
Good to have you with us on our continuing Saturday coverage of America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Regional networks across the country. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually, gorgeous Saturday here in South Ozone Park, New York, and Oceanport, New Jersey for opening day at Monmouth. We're up to the third here at Belmont at the Big A. New York breds trying to get that first win on the resume in a maiden special weight, 1-turn mile, and it's the entry guys at 3-2.
And I think that you'll see the 1 entry and the 8 come together a little bit more as we get closer. And the 8's probably going to be a second choice. The problem I have with this entry is what I have with all entries. They're both interesting. The 1 is the obvious one they're betting, and coming out of a live race made a close, but the 1A is kind of interesting as well.
And we'll kick things off here with the entry in our post-parade momentarily. It's going to be post 5 for, I think most would argue, probably the stronger half of the entry. Russian Realm, Katie Davis rides.
I agree, but the one, not the one I would be running to bet on. Really took advantage of a fast-paced collapsing last time and did kind of get out close in the stretch, but she still ran well in a race that's proving productive.
Breaks second to the outside here, the entry mate, Big Ego.
Well, one of the reasons the race fell apart was that this horse was gunning up front, and I think with a more patient race ride can be closer.
And this is who gets the rail, and at least has been consistent the last few starts, Judge Rules.
Yeah, shows up and runs the same kind of race. Feels like he's going to have to get just a little bit improvement there to find the winner's circle.
Flavian Pratt, and he's on Romantic Charmer.
No, it never hurts to have Flavian. This is a forwardly placed horse. Gets laced the first time, but he needs to improve.
First-time starter with some serious pedigree. Here's Foregone.
Yeah, half to Wonder Gal, a Grade 1 winner, and $600,000 purchase. Nice looking horse with a good work tab.
First foal in 5 years, I think, for the dam.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A gap.
Here's Iron Man Ira.
Ran respectively in a maiden race the same day as the 8 Palace Boss that was a slower division. Ran okay, but might be a little slower than the others.
40-1 shot. This is Muggsy Furies racking up a lot of chances.
Yeah, Robbie Davis gets Lane Luzzy, Mike Luzzy's son, so a lot of familiar connections there. Would be a surprise.
That's a big price on a horse who showed some ability first time out. Got beat by first-time starter Freedsdale for Linda Rice.
This is my pick. I bet this horse ran like a horse that needed the first race. I don't love the field that he's coming out of, but I think you're going to see a much more professional performance today.
Interested to see Maggie thinks of the appearance. I thought it looked pretty good. They're warming up. Palace Boss 6-1. Trevor McCarthy.
Trevor McCarthy picks up the mount for a horse, showed good speed last time, fought all the way to the wire.
Big overlay right now.
Yeah, big overlay, and Katie Davis chose another one, so her husband picks this one up.
And sorority prank, Dylan Davis on the outside, Chris Englehart.
I mean, he's going to have to get better, but at 19-1, I could see people using this one in the bottom parts of tries or supers.
2 minutes to post here in the third coming up on our Saturday card. You can follow along with all the stats on the horses, trainers, jockeys, and also get track stats. Bet smarter and win bigger. Weekly Aqueduct track trends, stats and betting insights. It's all part of being part of the NYRA Bets family. Go to nyrabets.com and get all that inside info to help your handicapping and hopefully grow that bank account. As we're a minute to post here in the third. And let's go back to Palace Boss. Horacio De Paz beat less than a length behind Bob John Ray, that Chad Brown runner last time out.
Yeah, he's apparently fourth choice in the doubles, which I find surprising. Now, for me, I bet him last time at almost 17-1, and he ran a winning race. Legitimate beat. The horse that beat him just came and caught him and ran very well to beat him, but he still ran very well considering his odds. Now, at 4 or 5-1, I would have no problem betting this horse back. I thought he'd be a shorter price. I'll tell you something. This entry is being dramatically overbet, in my opinion, and I think this horse is a big overlay. I picked him second, or third. If I had to do it over again, knowing the odds, I might have picked him on top, though I don't mind my 7 at a big price.
Benefit of going a mile off the short layoff last time out. Maggie, Palace Boss, 5-1 right now.
Yeah, he'll be my selection in here. Really like what I'm seeing from him. And he's a horse that I think truly wants this kind of distance. We'll check in with his uncoupled stablemate in a moment, but let's begin with the coupled entry in here from different barns, though, as we'll take a look at number 1. That is Russian Realm. Really good-looking horse. And is beautiful, and it just is a testament to the job that New York breeders have done over the years to really improve this line. Kentucky, you better watch out. I kid, but only partially. But Russian Realm, he's very colty, and I don't mean that in a bad way, that he's studdish or anything like that. He just lacks focus. So he kind of caught on towards the end of that race due to the fast pace coming back to him. At a short price, I'd rather just wait and see, whereas I've been chasing his entry mate a little bit, the 1A Big Ego, and I thought he was used quite hard to get to the lead last time in that pace, that collapse. And he was a little bit more revved up in that last start, and today he's really, really calm. You know, first time he was green, last time he was focused, but really aggressive, and today he's just really even keel, which I appreciate, and a horse that I do believe that there's talent in there. As we'll check in with number 7, Break the Fall, who will stretch out in distance, which I like. Really laid back disposition, always a key factor in trying to get more ground. Looks fitter in his second start and suggests to me that he should appreciate the added ground from 6 to the mile. Son of Mastery out of a mine shaft mare, so that bodes well. But I agree with Andy. I question the overall quality of that field. We've seen 2 of those horses come back to disappoint the first 2 finishers at short prices. How about the $600,000 yearling purchase for Gone? He's number 4 in here, and as you guys mentioned, lovely pedigree. I adore Hard Spuns. He is the most underrated sire, I think, though they did pay a lot for this one. But a half to Wonder Gal's a multiple stakes winner, kind of middle distance, anywhere from sprint to Alto Amount of 16th. Massive horse. Wonder Gal was a massive horse in her own right. He is huge. He's wearing a hood to run in, but he is cool as a cucumber. He has not done anything wrong. He's extremely professional. I would gander that he's about 90% fit. You know, a big horse like that, sometimes it takes a little bit of racing to get them truly there, but he's one I'm going to watch with a lot of interest. I feel as though there is some talent with this horse, makes an excellent impression first time out. It's just a fitness question, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Yeah, we don't know how he did it in the morning, but some very quick bullet workouts, the quickest of anyone in the morning, and a couple of drills for Foregone at 5-1 right now.
Which is a little significant. Apparently, he was working in Saratoga last summer as a 2-year-old, and Richie and I got in a horse suit and were competitive with him based on what I heard. So he's maybe turned the corner, and that happens with horses. I think the entry's overbet, but I think the 5 is ridiculously overbet. I don't know how anybody thinks the 5 should be 5-2 and the 8 5-1. Their odds should be reversed.
Guess who's aboard?
I should have known. What an idiot.
Gets
amazing,
consistently overbet, especially here in New York, and he's
pretty good.
Teaming up with the Detro Barn here as well. 9-5 on the entry. 3rd from Belmont at the Big A. Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin.
Foregone goes in. Palace Boss. A few more left to load. Towards the far outside there. See Big Ego go in. There's Iron Man Ira. Russian Realm, and then Sorority Prank to complete the load. There's Russian Realm. Sorority Prank. Dylan Davis aboard. Steps in. All set. And they're off. Sorority Prank was off a step slow, and Muggsy Fury is going to be the early trailer, also off slowly. Iron Man Ira's got the early speed. It's Iron Man Ira right there with Romantic Charmer. They're a clear 1-2, and these 2 are now 3 lengths clear of the rest as they get set to hook up with the backstretch. Now there comes Foregone, is in between horses, is settled into the 3rd position out wider. Sorority Prank was off a step slow, but is now taken 4th as those 2 travel as a pair. Judge Rules is in the 5th position. They start to get closer to the leaders as Iron Man Ira and Brad Ortiz Jr., they try to slow things down just a touch, and Big Ego is in the orange cap, is moving forward, is now in the 6th position. Entry mate Russian Realm is towards the inside. Pink Silks now very tightly bunched here as they work up the backstretch. 22.48 was that quick opening. Quarter mile, but maybe sense that fast pace. 46 seconds flat for the half-mile time. Iron Man Ira takes him into the far turn. Here comes the run from Sorority Prank, has gotten much closer, is now within the neck of the leader. Foregone is in between horses, tightly at the rail. Romantic Charmer, they are really stacked up now. Big Ego is under drive. Judge Rules from the back trying to rally on. Palace Boss is trying to get into the mix. Russian Realm is right there with some run, nowhere to go. Break the Fall, the trailer Muggsy Fury. Iron Man Ira reaches the top of the stretch, and Iron Man Ira is trying to run away. Sorority Prank is fully in pursuit. Russian Realm is trying to make up ground towards the inside. Also running on is Romantic Charmer. It's Iron Man Ira just trying to gut it out here for a final furlong. Still holds that margin. Down towards the inside, Russian Realm with a lot of momentum. Here comes the run from Russian Realm. Russian Realm, Katie Davis, they've taken the lead. Russian Realm gets the victory. Iron Man Ira's second, Sorority Prank. Then came Romantic Charmer, Palace Boss, and 1 minute 36 and 4.
Katie Davis up the inside. Russian Realm, part of the favorite 8-5 entry to take the third at Belmont at the Big A.
A really nice ride by Katie. Here she comes up the rail. Pretty fast pace early on, Andy.
Yeah, they were moving up front, but interestingly enough, it never really came apart, and I think that's something to pay attention to as the day goes on. You know, we saw a pretty quick race in the first race. The horse won by open lengths, but even for these horses, 136 and 4. But they were moving, but it's not like it fell apart. I mean, this horse made a big run. Katie gave this horse a great ride.
Well, here it's her brother trying to make a run at the favorite, and that horse with not enough on the outside, and here's Katie up the fence.
Well, Dylan was parked out there 3-4 wide. Katie saved every inch of ground. This is bragging rights tonight at dinner. I saved all the ground and got the money while you were out in the clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, you know, we all think that Katie gets the most out of her mount. She got to be on the horse to be able to win it, and she gets the opportunity, she does it. And obviously, very good trip, very good ride, fast pace to close into, but got the job done here. Iron Man Ira, I mean, I thought he was way over bet. I'm going to tell you after the race, he wasn't.
Not the way he ran.
22 and 2 going a mile, and you immediately think that's not going to hold up here.
My 7, who I liked, and the 8 in back of the pack, I thought they're in good spots being back there. They never picked up any ground at all, either one of them.
No. One went inside, one went outside, and they just didn't close any ground whatsoever.
Yep.
Give the winner a lot of credit. You sat in there, took the kickback, came through on the inside, and a nice ride by Katie Davis to get it done for Danny Gargan here.
And fast pace or not, was the only horse that made up any real ground in the race.
1-5-9-3, 8-5 favored entry with a win here in the third on our Saturday coverage at Belmont at the Big A. When we take a break, we'll come back on the other side. Peter Pan on the road to the Belmont Stakes. Can the wine steward, the New York bred Grade 1 place, get a win? Second start of his 3-year-old season, and can Deterministic get back to that Gotham? Stay with us.
Lightline is in full flight. Lightline turns it on at the top of the stretch, and he's in cruise control.
And Flightline takes off!
Take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear.
World-class racehorse, world-class performance at a world championship event.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage, America's Day at the Races, and win or lose, she's usually always smiling, but never hurts to get your picture taken to widen that smile a bit. Katie Davis on board for Danny Gargan, Russian Realm with the win, and Meg, she just loves what she's doing.
She really does, and I mean, it's just apparent in the mornings when you see her out working horses, and she works very hard in the mornings, how much she's enjoying herself. She comes from a racing family, the Davises, three siblings racing against each other. Robbie, a terrific competitor, training, and Katie really, I love the attitude she brings.
She's great. She really is. And no K's to love Kay. All of them, honestly. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jackie's. We've known Jackie a long time. She's coming riding. And obviously, Dylan turning into one of the best riders around.
And Katie getting a reputation really is being someone you want to go to get horses who are difficult to handle.
Yeah, because she has such nice, quiet hands, and she gets along with horses. She doesn't lose her temper and exasperate a difficult horse's attitude. She gets along with them, and she's really made a good reputation for herself.
That was a little Brian Hernandez-like, that ride.
Yeah, she had plenty of room compared to what Brian came to at the top of the stretch. Wow.
I'm glad for Brian to get a little due. You know, he's such a good rider, consistently good rider, and you know he really understood what he had to do in that Derby. It was nice to see him get that credit
Terrific.
That he's lacked getting for some
Right,
years.
following the footsteps of a man he studied quite a bit leading up to that victory in the Kentucky Derby, Calvin Burrell, with that win with Mystic Dan. Grade 3, Run Happy next. Straight No Chaser is ultra quick. It's going to try and wire this field, but has been off for almost a year.
Yeah, long time off. Good work tab at Santa Anita. Fast. You get Johnny Velasquez. And this horse has obviously shown blazing speed and great deal of ability. But it's always hard coming off a layoff, particularly with horses that have speed because they run the entire race.
Yeah, no, I agree. But this horse, he is faster than these horses. And, you know, it's funny. Richie and I, we've been around we got about a century between us at the racetrack. The very best sprinters, for the most part, and there was the Honorable Miss of the world and some of them, they had speed.
Yes.
And they could go fast early and still be finishing late. And that's what the best sprinters, and, you know, I was thinking about this the other night. That matchup in the Alan Jerkins between Life is Good and Jackie's Warrior a few summers ago is probably the best sprint race that we have seen in over a decade. And that's what we want to see. We want to see fast horses battling it out there, throwing it down, and still being there.
That was incredible. And all the pre-race hype of those two big guns going at each other lived up to it.
Yeah,
it really did. That was a race that lived to the hype.
Two potential stars in this race as well. Straight No Chaser, last couple of starts has really become a different horse. Can he get back to it off the long layoff? And Joey Freshwater, he was lights out last time, but there's the speedster. He's going to try and take this field every step of the way on the front end. We'll see if he can do it off the long time away. The Grade 3 Run Happy is next.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
$140,000. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
But it's all Pinehurst.
Grade 1 winner at 2.
Very impressive in the runaway Delmar Futurity.
Graded stakes winner at 3.
Pinehurst so gutsy.
The highest earning son of Twirling Candy.
Pinehurst lasted home to win it for the United States.
Bred on the same cross as Gunrunner. Pinehurst, standing at Womack.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Fox Weather meteorologist Steve Bender here with your Fox Weather risk of weather impact as we look at Monmouth Park opening day at the track, and you're looking at 2 p.m. Temperatures locked into the mid-50s. The cloud cover will be present there over Oceanport, New Jersey. Then we take it out to Aqueduct Racetrack, and we're looking at a similar forecast. Notice the temperatures dialed up a little bit into the lower 60s, and the golden hour from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's when we'll have the Man of War race, and we'll be looking at dry conditions there yet again at the racetrack in Queens, New York. A great opportunity to get out to the track this weekend. And a quick reminder, anytime you are going out to the track, you can check out Fox Weather and get the latest forecast. Just go to foxweather.tv. We're always on and we're always free.
Steve, thanks so much. Clear right now in Oceanport. We'll see about tomorrow. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2. Opening day coverage of this 51-day meet at Monmouth Park. Raj, yeah, the meet goes through September, but again, only 51 days racing on weekends, so that much more important for the horsemen to get off to a good start and hit their stride early on.
Yeah, good start usually snowballs into success throughout the meet, while the opposite side of that sword is a bad start can really impact your progression to the meet, whether you're a jockey, whether you're a trainer. So, it's always such an intense moment, the opening day for any meet. And you feel it here with these jockeys, and the ones that get off early usually compound into success throughout the meet.
Case in point, Jairo Rendon, who won the first race of the afternoon aboard a heavy favorite in this upcoming third race. A No Tricks, a beautifully bred, currently 4-5. This race for fillies and mares, but all 3-year-old fillies. First couple of races modest. This is a good one, maiden special weight, and you're trying to beat the favorite with number 5 Money Magnets, pictured at 2-1.
Yeah, and originally I picked Money Magnets, and that's my pick for the race. However, she seemed a little bit hot and bothered out there, and I'd hope that Paulie or JK down there could give us a insight on it. And the number 7 No Tricks just looks exceptionally well out there. I kind of want to jump ship here and move to number 7 if it's not too late.
Especially considering Paul and JK, the Regal pedigree, the bloodlines with No Tricks, this first-time starter odds-on favorite.
Yeah, and JK both landed on this. We both landed on this filly. And the 5 is the other horse in this because Terry Pompey is so good with their second-time starters. But this horse, Jorge Duarte, usually has his horses ready.
Yeah, and look, it's not a Saturday at Saratoga to see a pedigree like this into mischief out of a Grade 1 winner like Dance to Bristol. I think that has a lot to do with it here. It's interesting when you look at these other horses in this race. It's just not a lot to lean on, right? You look at the trainers 0 for 3 in the last 2 years with first-time starters. Doesn't even try to do this situation. The 3-horse 1 for 43 last 5 years with first-time starters. This horse is drawn perfectly towards the outside and has more pedigree than a lot of these horses combined.
Yeah, the only thing is the 5's got the experience, right, at 2-1. So if you want to go that way, I can understand where you're going. But we're going to stick here with 4-5. And I'll tell you what, we got the 8th pole bar here. We got eats going on. It smells pretty nice over here. I'm going to have to take maybe a couple of races off to eat some barbecue. I don't know about you, JK.
I already ate a hot dog with bacon and cheese on it, so I'm good to go.
What? He went to Max's. Okay, if you ever come to Monmouth Park, you have to have a hot dog, Lafitte, at Max's. I don't know, Rajiv, if that's in your diet or not.
Well, I have no dietary restrictions anymore, as you can see the weight has pounded on. However, can you guys please send up some barbecue for me and Lafitte up here in the library?
He's made messengers and delivery boys out of you once again. Has Raj a couple of races off near the 8th pole bar? What could possibly go wrong?
No, that's where they want to be. They're the lucky ones for today.
No Tricks, the even money favorite. Raj won the Grade 1 Ballerina 3 times. Her mother won the Ballerina No Tricks. All set for the third. Live from Monmouth on opening day. You're watching on Fox Sports 2.
Here comes No Tricks. We're ready to go. And And we're off. Beautiful beginning from Money Magnets, who shoots out of there, goes to the front. No Tricks takes the second spot. Swan passing that rival, and here comes Swan down on the inside to take the lead. No Tricks keen to go on here, and No Tricks is challenging the front runners. Swan down on the inside. Money Magnets between that pair, a gap of 2 to Foolish Challenge. Then My Honey Bunch running in the 5th position, 8 lengths off the lead and sent along. Allie's Jersey Girl at the rear. No Tricks approaching the 4-turn run as the ears prick. Does it well on the front end and hits the 4-turn with Money Magnets, who comes right back at her from the inside. Money Magnets back in front by a nose. No Tricks. A 3-deep Foolish Challenge has made her move to come and challenge those front runners. These 3 across the track with a 1/4 mile more to go. Swan is giving way. The others are well out of it as they come off the turn. Money Magnets game today on the inside. No Tricks is losing contact with the top pair, has dropped back to 3rd, and Foolish Challenge now takes the lead in mid-stretch. It's Foolish Challenge and Daniel Centeno in front. Money Magnets trying to come back. Swan into 3rd, but it's still Foolish Challenge inching away. Foolish Challenge to win it by 2.5 lengths. Swan was 2nd. Photo for 3rd. Money Magnets and an oncoming My Honey Bunch.
Not the first-time starter everyone is zeroed in on, but a first-time starter. Victorious in the 3rd at Monmouth Park. Foolish Challenge, Prancing Horse Farm LLC, debuting filly, puts the favorite and all others away in the stretch.
Yes, significant upset here in the face of 2 heavily bet horses, and Foolish Challenge just really ran professional and set a perfect trip off the duel. Daniel Centeno, he made a rightly timed move on the outside, and it was enough to pull away at the end.
Impressive. So, a successful debut. Foolish Challenge Monmouth, results forthcoming. What about a very fast comebacker? Out at Aqueduct by the name of Straight No Chaser, pictured 1-2, Maggie. So good to see him back in action today. One of the top-ranked sprinters in North America before being sidelined a season ago.
He was well on his way to asserting himself, Lafitte, yes, as maybe the top sprinter in the country when that campaign was cut short in his 4-year-old season. And as Acacia Clement explained yesterday on air, that the layoff resulted when they were trying to actually sell a portion of this horse, had the vet exam, and found a issue that they had not realized was happening with him. So they took care of it. They've given him the time here, and he comes back. And the only time I've seen him was 2 back for that race at Oaklawn Park, and he was a mess. I mean, granted, that Oaklawn Park paddock is not conducive to horses who are high-strung or bad to saddle. But he comes in today, he was still bad to saddle, but he's been calm on either side of that, so I appreciate that. And he's filled out a bit. He's actually carrying way better weight and conditioning than what he was last year. He's strong and he's fit. So if you like him, he looks the part. As number 4 is Butch Reed, looks for another graded stakes victory on this card, and I respect Butch and his team and the job they do, because the horses they bring here just look phenomenal. And 90% Maddie, although defeated last time in that state bred stake, I thought he made the first move into that quick pace while wide. And looking at him here, he's done well from 3 to 4. And if that race is Beyer is an indication of what he may bring this year, then I think onwards and upwards, he makes an excellent impression, Greg.
Graded stakes winner Straight No Chaser just went by off the bench, the speedster.
Yeah, obviously he's very quick out of the gate, and he is very fast.
As we were just saying off air, this horse used to be very quick, Durante.
Yeah, it looks like he might have just lost a touch of that speed more recently, but he gets back to sprinting on the dirt.
All right, Ortiz Jr. on 90% Maddie for Butch Reed.
No, the connections. Butch Reed does not ship just to come over here for a good time. He comes to play.
701 upset in the Bogey earlier. Here's 24 Mamba.
You know, if you're a little bit hesitant to take either 1 or 6, both the 4 and 5 offer a little bit of potential value. The 4, none because of Irad. This one, yes.
And how in the world is Joey Freshwater still at 6-1 off that performance last time out?
That was a breakout performance for him, and he's got a good post position. He's quick enough to get position, and he can see what's going on inside of him.
Yeah, he's about 9 to 5 or so looking at the doubles, and he's going to be the second choice. The IRAD money on the 4 is out of control at this point. And I picked the 4 second, so I'm not Butch Reed we respect, but obviously this is ridiculous. I mean,
a lot of eyes on this horse right here to see if he can repeat what he did last time out. Standing by with his trainer. Let's go to Acacia Clement.
That's right, Greg. Linda Rice here with me and Linda. Joey Freshwater last time. What a dominant performance. What are we going to see from today off the back of that big effort?
Well, we're hoping that he can reproduce something similar to that. You know, I mean, in racing, typically they say that a horse will bounce off an effort that big, and that could happen. But we're hoping for the best. He's been training well, and he's got a good outside post position, which he had last time. I think that's a great draw for him, so fingers crossed.
He won the Bayshore as a 3-year-old. Tell me a little bit about his development as a 4-year-old and getting him back to those big races like the one we saw last time.
Yeah, he was a good 3-year-old. He won the Bayshore. He was impressive that day. And sometimes I've thought that maybe he's better at 7/8 than he is at 3/4 because he really doesn't want to be rushed. And I think that's why the outside post position helped him last time, because he's in a position where he can let things unfold. But, you know, you're always hoping when you have a 3-year-old that can win a graded stake, especially sprinting on the dirt, that they circle back around and become a stakes caliber horse as a 4-year-old. So that's what we're hoping for with Joey Freshwater.
Thanks for the insight, Linda. Good luck.
Thank you.
Greg?
He was simply sensational last time out. Just incredible effort that if he can continue to run races like that, we're going to see him, no question, the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He might be one of the favorites in that race.
No, I mean, we've talked about this a bit this week. The sprint division's a little hungry. And you've got 2 horses in here, in Joey Freshwater and Straight No Chaser, that ran big figures last time. I don't care what speed figures you look at. Either one of these horses would be a blessing to this division and have a chance with those kind of races to move to the front, you know, and compete in races like the Vanderbilt at Saratoga, the Forgo at Saratoga. He's got to do it again. We also talk a lot about 1-number horses. And at this point, Greg, he is a 1-number horse.
Yeah, that was a breakout performance, a race he hadn't run previous. But all of his best races have been when he's drawn either outside or towards the outside. If you go through his past performances, his races when he's drawn inside seem to be a little subpar even for him. And this was another worldly performance. 6-6 again today aids him.
And you know, his race 3 back off the layoff, he ran very well. Obviously not nearly as fast as the race last time, but he showed that he had taken a little bit of a step forward as 4-year-old. He ran poorly 2 back. Linda Rice told me after his last race that he came out of that race 2 back with a bit of a foot issue. So she said that explains why he ran as poorly. Now, I think she was kind of as surprised as any of us with that performance last time. And even in his last race, watching it, you and I were on air, Greg, and we both sort of looked at each other midway through the race and went, well, I know who's winning this race, because you could just see that Jose Lezcano had 10 hands full of the horse.
It was eye-catching, no question. You knew just watching it, it was going to earn such a huge figure. But as we heard from Linda Rice, you run that big, a little bit nervous to see, can you do it again? That's the big question mark, and really one of the big questions on today's card. Meanwhile, Straight No Chaser, we know his game. He is ultra quick. He has a ton of talent, but he's got to try and make that speed last now off a year layoff.
Well, to give you an idea of how fast he was, he went a 22 2/4 at Pimlico where there's absolutely no run-up at the break. You know, that would be 21 and change anyplace else.
Well, we saw the maiden New York breds go 22-2 to a mile last time. Based on that kind of performance, this horse could go 21-3 here quite easily.
Yes.
And I agree, Richie, it's a very good point. When Richie talks about no run-up, the distance behind the gate where they actually start it, the longer it is, the faster they're going. And that's why at Churchill Downs, you often see 21-1, 21-2, and it's kind of like 22 here. It's the opposite at Pimlico, where 23 is a fast first score there. So 22-2 for a first score at Pimlico is a rarity.
3-5 favorite, the one to catch, Straight No Chaser. Meanwhile, you were never going to get 6-1 on Joey Freshwater, and finally that money's starting to come in as we check in for more with Maggie and Acacia.
That's right, Greg. Will the late money be right here, Acacia? You just caught up with Joey Freshwater's trainer, Linda Rice. And Joey Freshwater, you know, I found it interesting what she said. He doesn't like to be rushed. Well, I guess he doesn't like to be rushed either in the warm-up because he was kept fairly quiet by Jose Lezcano, but moving incredibly well.
And you like to see that, Maggie. At times, he's been a horse that is not the freest in the way that he covers the ground. So good to see that he's moving well today, but he's very laid back out there on the track. But I thought what Linda said, too, about the outside outside post being beneficial to him. He looked great to my eye. You saw him last time. The biggest question, though, is if he could repeat that effort.
Exactly. So we'll see if he can move forward from that. As we'll move on to Durante, who, we were talking about straight no chaser coming off the near year layoff. Well, Durante's only coming off about a week layoff. Here, he got the tune-up on the turf, and he showed a little bit of pace that day and faded, but I didn't think he looked that fit. Now, he's a horse that when he was doing his best running got really washy. You remember that. And I think that's almost a good sign with him. Can he get back to some of his better efforts?
And that's the beauty of knowing a horse, too, because at first when he walked in, I was like, oh, I don't know. He's getting a bit hot. And even though it's not that warm today, but like you said, it's character for him. And he's the kind of horse that kind of wears it on his sleeve when he's doing well with his energy, too.
Yep.
And he was pretty fresh coming in off the back of that turf try.
We'll see if that sets him up well for this run happy, but both you and I'm jumping on your bandwagon as you took the pitch read winner of the Beaugay, Nisi Marie, but we were both really impressed with what we saw from 90% Maddie.
He just looked so good. He looked so good. And I love how strong he was. I loved how he was touting himself. He was kind of in that chasing spot last time out in the Paige McKenney, but I thought that he was pretty game holding off the rest of the field, but he just really touted himself back in the paddock. Butch even came over my shoulder, looked at my notes, and he goes, yeah, he looks good, doesn't he?
And he's feeling good too, Greg. He let out a big old buck when they turned around to start their warm-up, so often you can't beat a happy, healthy horse.
Can that Butch Reed magic strike twice on this Saturday card here in New York? We will find out. 4-1 on 90% Maddie. Irad Ortiz Jr. will have that mount. If he's going to win, you would have to think Durante is going to have to try and maybe put a little heat on straight no chaser.
Yeah, that would obviously help in here. I don't understand why 4 is 4-1 and the 5 is 16-1. I mean, I'm not saying 24 Mamba is going to win this race, but last time out, he was rushed up into a very fast pace that fell apart. He got completely left in the Tom Fool and the slop that day and lost all chance. His prior 2 races were pretty good. I'm not saying they're good enough to beat the favorites if they run their races, but they're better than any race that 90% Maddie has run. And I picked 90% Maddie. I never thought she'd be this short a price. I underplayed the Irad Ortiz angle here. And frankly, I think this horse is an overlay. I also think the 6 is a ridiculous overlay at the current odds.
And it's amazing that Joey Freshwater, who ran the kind of number of an elite sprinter last time out. I guess people don't believe we got to see it again, but that kind of performance, it's shocking to see him at 3-1.
Well, and I go back to the fact that he's drawn 5 of 5 here. I just think he's a horse that's more comfortable outside of horses, and he has ability, and last time was a breakout performance. But I think what Linda Rice said is spot on, though. How do you react to that effort?
My feeling is that good horses don't, quote, bounce. And a lot of times the bounce is because a horse gets a very good setup in a race and comes back and it's a less favorable setup. So I think it's a box that is too easily used by people without necessarily analyzing all the overall situational things.
Right, taking into account all of the factors that went into
when
that
horses run, a lot of times when horses run uncharacteristically well, there are circumstances that lead to it.
Couple of sprinters that have their eyes on later this year. Maybe the Breeders' Cup Sprint, if they can continue to move forward on that path. You see the 2 Durante move in, getting a little help from the starting gate crew. Grade 3, Run Happy, and the odds-on favorite, this speedster from the rail, the 1, Straight No Chaser. Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin.
Joey Freshwater is in. All set for the Run Happy. And they're off. And it was an awkward beginning there for Straight No Chaser as the early trailer, and they're going to line up here as Straight No Chaser wants to rush up at the rail. Durante is going to hold that position, and they move quickly early. Here's Straight No Chaser having to work, gets to the lead as a neck in front, but really had to work to get there, and Straight No Chaser at 3-5 is now up by a half length. Durante is well settled now, stalking from second. Joey Freshwater is 3 wide in third. 90% Maddie is tracking in the 4th position. Now gets the nibble, just encouraged to move forward here from 4th, and towards the outside outside. 24 Mamba is progressing from the back. 22 seconds flat was that opening quarter mile. Straight No Chaser is in hand now. Well settled. Durante is losing some ground. Joey Freshwater is trying to make up ground 3 wide. 90% Maddie is off the rail looking for a seam. 24 Mamba. They're chasing Straight No Chaser. Straight No Chaser 44 and 3 for that half-mile time. Straight No Chaser trying to put it away. Joey Freshwater in full pursuit. 24 Mamba. 90% Maddie grandstand side. It is Joey Freshwater now takes the lead. Joey Freshwater. Here comes 90% Maddie lunging. Joey Freshwater almost there. 90% Maddie trying. Joey Freshwater holds on and wins the run happy. 90% Maddie up for second. 24 Mamba. Then a photo between Straight No Chaser and Durante. It's Joey Freshwater in the run happy in 1 minute 9.41 seconds.
Joey Freshwater back-to-back wins now 5 for 7 on this racetrack. Jose Lezcano and Linda Rice.
Sitting that perfect trip. Outside post gave up Jose the luxury of being able to see what was going on in front of him. The one Straight No Chaser bobbled at the brake, didn't brake sharply. Got up, went 3 or 4 strides, bobbled again, and that told on him late. In here, he had to get tired. I thought he was very game to hold on as long as he did.
And I'll tell you something, good trip. I agree. Straight No Chaser didn't run badly. He's actually only gets beaten about, 3.5 lengths here or so, which isn't bad. Once he doesn't break and he's got to rush up in that 22 quarter, he's doing so much work. Now, I agree that Joey Freshwater got a good trip, but he was right on top of the pace.
Yeah.
And this pace fell apart. My 5, who you and I kind of used to try to get in the exacta, had no excuse. Broke like a shot, perfect trip, just wasn't good enough. And the 4, who ran well, and which Reed horses always seem to overachieve, he got the best trip. Irad just waited behind horses, saved ground, angled out in the stretch. This horse was best. I'm not saying he ran the 105 we saw last time, but he ran a good figure, and he is legit.
He's legit.
Back-to-back very big performances. It'll be interesting to see what this figure does come back after that gaudy figure he got last time out. Let's go back to the beginning. Keep your eyes on the inside. This poor break from the 1.
Yeah, he broke a touch slow, but he also kind of bobbled. And then keep an eye on him after that. See, boom.
Oh,
he stumbled. Now watch, he's going to bobble again right in here. Watch his head. Right there, he bobbled again.
Yeah, listen, he's off a year. He had some issues. And I think the good sign for him is, and he's also put it a little tight there. And listen, I'm not going to knock the rider of Durante. You're supposed to take advantage of that situation. And Manny's like,
Manny Franco,
I want to put the favorite in tight. I got a chance to do it. And I think the fact that he didn't completely fold his tent, coming off a long layoff, not, stumbling at the start, quick pace, he could have gotten beaten 10, 12 lengths in this race, and he only got beaten a few lengths. So I would not sell Straight No Chaser short. He'll run a lot better next time out.
Yeah, that was actually a very brave effort after the break, the stumbling beginning and wobbling, getting put in tight, so Johnny's got to kind of gun him in there to hold his position. Manny Franco did what you're supposed to do, though. A jockey's job is to make it as hard on his rivals as possible within the boundaries of the rules.
And I think you're almost seeing a bit of a change, because I don't know about you, Richie. I always felt that the Ortiz brothers and Manny Franco, because they idolized John Velasquez, all of them coming here from Puerto Rico, Johnny's Johnny, that they were a little deferential to him at times. He wasn't deferential here.
Not at all.
No favors done to anyone on this circuit. You got to earn it. As you saw right there, Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice, back-to-back wins for the emerging Joey Freshwater in the sprint division. Wins it 5-2.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. And in the Grade 3 Run Happy, Joey Freshwater makes it back-to-back victories, picking up another graded stakes. I'm happy to be joined by his trainer once again, Linda Rice. Linda, always more fun after a win as Joey Freshwater. Very game coming down to the wire.
Yes, he really was. It was a great performance. You know, obviously we were a little concerned coming off of his lifetime best effort, but he won a Grade 3 at Aqueduct as a 3-year-old, and looks like he likes the track without question, and he ran a big race today.
With it kind of being a little bit wide open in the sprint division this year with some of the big names retiring, how exciting is it to have a horse that's in such good form going into those big summer races?
Oh, yeah. You know, Steve Sigler, Sandy Robbins, you know, we're excited to go to Saratoga and have some horses that are going to compete well up there. And so basically after today's race, I think that puts us, you know, in pretty good shape for Saratoga.
I know you just took a call from Steve Sigler, a winning move. How excited is he?
Oh, he's so excited. He's disappointed he couldn't be here today. He's in Texas with his daughter and his grandkids, but he's watching.
Well, congratulations to the whole team.
Thank you.
As Joey Freshwater with a big victory here, Greg, and could make things interesting in those sprint races this summer.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, and that's how close it was in the end, but the big names are gone. Elite Power out of the mix. Gunite retired as well. And Joey Freshwater, would you put him in Skelly company right now?
Well, I mean,
for Steve Asmussen?
As brilliant as Skelly is, his Beyer figures hover around 100, and that's probably close to what he got here. So I think it'll be interesting, and potentially Skelly's supposed to come for the True North, which is on Belmont Stakes weekend. You'd have to imagine Linda's looking to run there. I certainly want to give Straight No Chaser another chance, and I just feel like there's a little bit of life being brought into this division, which is exciting. You know, we've had a couple of stakes. They were smaller fields, but they've really delivered so far as very exciting races.
Some new stars beginning to emerge here in this sprint division right before our eyes. Let's send it back to Oceanport with Lafitte and Raj.
Favorites defeated in the first 2 of 4 graded stakes races. Aqueduct. Meantime, here at Monmouth, and opening day coverage continues. First look at grass racing, perhaps the first grass race you and I have ever covered. Rajiv.
Yeah, this is the first time, because we were just at Oaklawn and they don't have a grass course, so this is pretty exciting.
Last I checked, they don't. And this is exciting. You like a 9-to-1 shot, homeschool.
Yeah, I like homeschool, you know, cutting back a little bit in distance and getting to the turf here with a big drop in class.
Looking at Roses, Jairo Rendon defeated on the favorite about 25 minutes ago, looking for a second win this afternoon.
Another one coming back to the turf. He's been running his last 10 races on the dirt, but he does have a turf win.
Big, beautiful Wall on his toes. Colpa de Oro. First start on this turf course was a victorious one. Then number 6, Majestic Eagle at 6-1.
Yeah, 2 bad races on the dirt his last 2 races, but he switches back to the turf, which he's had 4 career wins.
Big, beautiful Wall. Last win on grass about a month before Authentic won the Kentucky Derby the year of the pandemic. There's Colpa de Oro.
Yeah, Colpa de Oro is just got beat a length last time behind Winning Factor, who is the number 5 in this race. He was coming late at the end. Melissa Iorio retains the mount.
You saw the favorite, Fatima's Blessing. More on him in a moment. Number 10, Hey Porter towards the outside. Scratch numbers 11 and 12. That is the field. Aggressive warm-up on Hey Porter. $12,500 claiming event. Mile and a 16th on a firm turf course. We promised more on Fatima's Blessing, and more specifically, his jockey, Paco. Around here, Rajiv, it's just Paco. He wins a lot of races, titles. Paco Lopez, 10-time Monmouth champion rider.
Yeah, like you said, they know him on a first-name basis
just
here.
Paco.
Paco has made an outstanding presence here at Monmouth, just dominating the championship year after year. And we talked earlier about getting off to a good start. We're going into 3 races in, going to the 4th race.
He's slumping, man.
And Paco hasn't been on the scoreboard yet. Not something that he's accustomed to, because, as you can see, he's won over 100 races here at some prior meets. And usually he's winning every 3 races. He's winning a race. He's winning a 30%
So he's
clip.
due. Paco aboard Fatima's Blessing. Lukewarm favorite, 3-1. He does his best running late, as does your top selection in homeschool. And with this good-sized field and navigating his way through traffic, expect him to make a solid run from off the pace.
Yeah, and that's why I picked Homeschool. So Homeschool's last 2 races, he was drawn pretty terribly. He was drawn 10 out of 10 in both his last 2 races, which got him stuck wide, very wide on the first turn in both those races. And running wide on turf races and losing ground is tough to overcome, giving a big advantage to your competition. Today, he gets the complete opposite. He's actually drawn on the inside of all his rivals in the 1 position, whereas the favorite Fatima's Blessing is going from the 1 position last time all the way out to the 9 position. So Paco Lopez is really going to have to figure out a way to work his way in, while my pick, Homeschool, should just fall into that great spot being down on the inside.
Paul, JK, back from the 8th pole bar, I presume. Who wins the first grass race of this brand new meet?
Nah, we're still hanging around by the picnic area here, Lafitte. But listen, I think this is a tough race, JK. You and I are both going a little bit of long shots. You like Majestic Eagle a little bit.
Yeah, I do. If you look at Majestic Eagle, you look at those last 2 races on the dirt, horse ran horrible, but this race isn't on the dirt. And I think a lot of times horse players and handicappers can get a little lazy looking at some of just like the last couple of races. You get a little deeper into the race. This horse was running out in California, and this horse actually fits from a figure standpoint. We'll need to improve a little bit, but, you know, when horses move to David Jacobson's barn, that can happen from time to time.
No, I'm kind of with you. This one's got some really good numbers to go back to. I know there's 9 second-place finishes. I was actually between the 8 and 9 and JK's pick, the 6. I landed on the 8, Copa d'Oro. Derek Ryan, been a fixture here in Monmouth Park for a long time. Melissa Iorio had a tremendous meet, Lafitte at Tampa. And Fatima's Blessing, obviously the Dini runner for Paco Lopez is the other one in here. But I'll take a shot with the 8, JK with the 6. We're looking for some prizes to keep on rolling.
Copa d'Oro for Paul, trained by Derek Ryan. How good does that effort by Bukem Dano in Riyadh on the undercard of the Saudi Cup now look compared to what Forever Young did in the Kentucky Derby? Bukem Dano just falling short to Forever Young overseas.
Forever Young has to be regarded as potentially the best 3-year-old, if
he's right
at
there.
least a top 3. And Bukem Dano looked like he probably could have beat him that day. I mean, opened up a big lead on him and just got unfortunate losing a nose bob to Forever Young. So if you put Bukem Dano in the same category as Forever Young, you're looking at a top 3.
Forever Young can excel at longer distances. Bukem Dano, short to middle distance for Derek Ryan. He has number 8, Copa d'Oro here at the gate in this mile and a 16th turf affair. Raj, what are we looking for from the start in terms of jockeys and position?
Well, this race lacks a clear-cut pace setter. It's void of a lot of early speed. And I think that number 5 winning factor with Angel Arroyo, he's going to be the one that has the most speed, and he's going to be looking to establish that lead and control the pace. If they let him go too early, he might put them all to sleep. That's what he's going to be trying to do. So the jockeys that are aggressive early in this race, establishing that forward position going into the first turn, are going to be the ones that are going to capitalize from the better trip.
You went number 1, Homeschool, the favorite. Fatima's Blessing, Paco. Just Paco, 10-time Monmouth champion jockey aboard the favorite, 5-2. Matt Dinnerman with the call. 4th race live from Monmouth on opening day.
Homeschool leapt in the air at the start and drops to the back of the pack after that. Hay Porter shaking hard to get forward position from the far outside post as a narrow lead. Majestic Eagle winning factor not far off as they come out of the chute. Majestic Eagle with a half-length lead now. Hay Porter takes a hold second, so does winning factor to his inside. Copa d'Oro in a good gallop now. 4th ahead of Big Beautiful Wall. And then behind them, Fatima's Blessing going into the turn is 4 lengths behind, racing alone. A gap of 2 to Graydon on a curve down on the inside, looking at Roses alongside of that rival, and Homeschool getting off the rail on a hold at the back of the pack, at least 10 behind the front runner, the old pro Majestic Eagle, who leads the way approaching the backstretch run. Majestic Eagle, Isaac Castillo carving out the fractions, a length and a tail ahead. Hay Porter running in the 2nd position, winning factor the gray 3rd to the inside. Copa d'Oro 4th, 3 lengths off the pace, a length to Big Beautiful Wall as they start to pack up now. Winning Factor right behind the leaders down on the inside. Fatima's Blessing passing a few rivals between horses. Fatima's Blessing within 4 lengths of the lead. Looking at Roses moving alongside of that rival. Then comes Graded on a Curve, and Homeschool still the trailer as they start to sprint with 3 furlongs to go. Majestic Eagle rounding the far turn, still in front, but there's a wall chasing right behind him. Winning Factor gets into the 2-path. Fatima's Blessing is right there battling as well as they swing off the corner. They come down the lane. Majestic Eagle holding off Winning Factor. These two stride for stride. Fatima's Blessing right there grandstand side. Copal d'Oro gives way. Winning Factor between horses. Fatima's Blessing kicking on together. Outside it's Fatima's Blessing. Inside Winning Factor. Fatima's Blessing. Fatima's Blessing over Winning Factor, and a great stretch duel there. Majestic Eagle third. Big Beautiful Wall fourth.
Paco Lopez, Fatima's Blessing in a thrilling finish, just able to outduel Winning Factor to the wire in the 4th here at Monmouth.
Well overdue for Paco. 3 races without winning. He wins one in his 4th race. And what a ride. He pressed all the right buttons. He kept him a little closer today. Paco acknowledged that the pace wasn't going to be as fast. He put his horse in positions to not be compromised by a slow early pace, which it was 49 for the half mile, and that was the difference. When races are decided by a nose, which a lot of races are, these incremental decisions and moves that these jockeys make are the deciding factor between winning and losing.
Every inch matters. Well, we love turf racing. Fatima's Blessing, Paco Lopez, Michael Deeney, owner-trainer. Results when we come back. Plus the Derby winner, Mystic Dan. It is confirmed. He is Baltimore bound. He will race in the Preakness Stakes. Announced earlier today, Mystic Dan, his quest for the Triple Crown continues a week from today.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Beyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Midlantic made 2-year-olds in training. With a catalog of top juveniles by the nation's top sires, this sale has consistently produced graded stakes winners from around the world and on all surfaces, including Kentucky Derby winner Mage, plus 2024 graded stakes winners Kinza, Linda's Gift, Mendelssohn Bay, and Olivia Darling. The Phasing Tipton Midlantic made 2-year-olds in training sale, May 20th and 21st in Timonium, Maryland. Where will you be?
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
Just minutes from downtown Saratoga Springs, you'll find GMP Farm, a revolutionary state-of-the-art equine therapy and rehabilitation facility offering the most advanced equipment and knowledgeable staff to care for your equine athlete. From oxygen therapy and laser treatments to thermal imaging, dry saw room, and cryotherapy treatment, all alongside a 7/8 mile Tapeta training track. GMP Farm is revolutionizing equine care. To see a full list of services and book your horse's rejuvenation session, visit gmpfarm.net today.
They're off the turn. Mystic Dan cut the corner and grabbed the lead. Led at the top of the stretch. Sierra Leone and Forever Young are shoulder to shoulder with a furlong to go, but they've got 2 lengths to make up on Mystic Dan, who's begging for the wire. Forever Young and Sierra Leone keep on coming. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan. A wild finish. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
3-way photo finish, and every inch of ground that Brian Hernandez was able to save with Mystic Dan mattered to win this Kentucky Derby.
What an incredible ride. He contributed greatly to this victory. Mystic Dan, a shifty, hard-knocking, tough little horse that a rider really, really gets helped out by because he'll go to those tough spots.
And I think, and I agree with everything both you guys are saying, but I think in talking about so much how much of a difference the ride made, it's lost on a lot of people that Mystic Dan was also the only horse that was reasonably close to the pace that survived at all.
Sure.
Everybody else that was near that pace finished way in the back of the pack, including Fierceness. And the two that ran 2-3 came from way back. And the truth is, for closers, they both got pretty good trips overall. I thought Forever Young got a little tougher trip than Sierra Leone, who got a fabulous ride from Tyler Gaffalione. And Mystic Dan survived. So, yeah, he saved more ground. Yeah, he was a little bit lucky. But he didn't run a bad race, and he wasn't just lucky to win the Derby.
No, he's talented, and he took advantage of the ability to be shifty and make multiple moves within a race. The toughest part of both Forever Young and Sierra Leone's trip was them being all over each other. I thought Forever Young maybe started the initial contact, and then Sierra Leone was lugging in through the entirety of the stretch. And I think part of it was that he got set off by Forever Young. You know, Sierra Leone wants to lug in a little bit anyway. You get a big, tough colt, and somebody kind of gives you that first tap. Then it's on, and Tyler had his hands full trying to stay off of him.
And news came out of that this week. Tyler Gaffalione, of course, seen putting his hand on Forever Young, and as a result of that, fined by the stewards at Churchill Downs.
I think they did the proper thing. $2,500 fine. I didn't think it warranted days, and I thought it was a momentary lapse. But it states clearly in the rules, you cannot touch another horse or their equipment, and he did for that stride or two. The only biggest surprising thing out of all that was why wasn't an inquiry sign posted? I know they were looking at it. You know they were looking at it, but you need to reassure the public, that they're looking at it.
The public doesn't know what we know. I mean, to be fair, and they should have known. It was a blunder. What I'm happy about is often when stewards do things like that, they sort of double down and they'll suspend the jockey for no reason. They didn't do it with Tyler, and I agree with what you said, but he shouldn't be suspended.
Great news to see those probables, to see that, it was very iffy for a little while because Kenny McPeak had said with Mystic Dan, his smaller horse, the last time he came back on 2 weeks rest, he did not run all that great. Looks like he's doing a lot better after that Derby win, and now he is going to go for that Triple Crown and line up in the Preakness. So very happy to see that. It's good for the game, too. As we have a 6 furlong sprint coming up. Next, the one Berletti, big favorite.
Yeah, this horse is massively overbet, and he's a better dirt horse than turf horse. He's not horrible in the turf, but he should be nowhere near this price.
Wesley Ward holding the line, the 3.
Listen, I'm always afraid of Wesley Ward, but on his PPs, he's not good enough to win this race, but he should be forward.
Long shot, Street Swag, went by. Here's Can't Beat the Rock.
Yeah, I just think Can't Beat the Rock is more of a dirt horse, though he has back turf form that wasn't terrible.
Trevor McCarthy on P-Money.
I think a major player here. P-Money's both turf races are terrific.
I think he'd be favored.
Time on the turf for Warrior Richard.
Took a shot with this one. He's got enough turf pedigree to move up on it, and he's only the second time Dave Donks had him, and he's good enough to compete if he can transfer his form to grass.
Turf debut for Showdown King as well.
From Linda Rice trying the turf for the first time by Mineshaft, but out of an aftermarket mare, more turf on the bottom side.
Reclaim for Tom Morley with Devil's Key.
Yeah, he's trying the turf for the first time and doesn't really have the pedigree for it. He feels like, if anything, he could be part of the pace.
Speed with Power Attack, Kinder Carmouche.
He's a major player. He's one on turf, he's one on synthetic, and he has speed.
Manny Franco on the also eligible Screw Loose, who gets in.
Yeah, his turf form isn't good enough to compete here. You have to hope he improves for Kanemachi's off the claim. I think, Richie, horses like the 6 and 10 probably should be the first and second choice in here, and they're just massively overbaying the 1 because of IRAD. The thing I like about the 6, who I picked second, is his turf races when he ran his first 2 were big improvements. And he's even better in the dirt now. What if he transfers that improvement back to the turf, his preferred surface?
It's very interesting.
This race very wide open, even though the board belies that. Seems like there's a lot of ways to go, and it kicks off this cross-country Pick 5 sequence that includes the Peter Pan and our ABR Race of the Week. The Man of War closes out with 3-year-olds in the Long Branch who have aspirations to try and get to the Haskell.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting. And which one of these horses, are they going to the Haskell? Are they pointing for the Belmont Stakes? Obviously, things could change after the running of the race.
Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Thank you, Greg. As Borletti is not for me. Give me Power Attack, the New York bred. I've been a big fan of this turf sprinter since he began his career, and each time he's led over to my eye, he improves. And I think his race at Gulfstream Park last time was an indicator of that. I do like him today. He'll be my selection, as we'll check in with the Wesley Ward horse coming off the back of the maiden score for the 50 last time out, albeit on the Tapeta at Turfway Park. Number 3 holding the line. This guy just screams turf sprinter. And, you know, I know he was bet in that first race at Gulfstream Park, but he was out sprinted to the lead, and obviously something may have happened in that race, hence the long layoff. He didn't switch leads until late in that comeback race, but I really think this is where he belongs, and I think he's very dangerous at 6-1. Moving on to number 5, Can't Beat the Rock. It's been a while since we've seen him on the turf. He did win that race in California, going the 6.5 down the hill at Santa Anita. He does have a turf foot. For whatever that's worth, he looks like he belongs on this surface, primarily sprinting, as one would assume. So I think he's a little intriguing getting back to this, and if he can get back to some of his better races for David Jacobson, I think it makes him a legitimate player. Now, there's 4 horses trying the turf for the first time, and while I respect Warrior Richard, I'll take a look at the horses that were at least the most convincing physically, and ironically, one of them doesn't have much turf pedigree at all, and that's number 4, Street Swag, and he's a massive price in here, but he has a very angular pastern and massive turf hoof to him. So I don't love him, but he definitely caught my eye because of switching surfaces, as did number 8 for Linda Rice, Showdown King. Now, he does have a little bit more pedigree, not the top side with the Mine Shaft, but the dam was a 2-time turf winner. The second dam, 60 Rockettes, was 3 for 7 on the turf and running mid-90 buyers, and he looks as though he should appreciate this change of surfaces too, Greg.
Shocking to us up here to see Borletti the one at 9-5, but that, again, what happens on the circuit so much, this rider gets overbet often. Arad Ortiz Jr. Certainly could win, but that is very short.
I'm going to live and die with my 7. I used any of the 6, 7, 8 and exactas and the 10 as well, but I think the 7's interesting at a price. I think the 6 is the worst to beat. I think the 1, like you said, ridiculously overbet. Just outrageous.
A horse that's so afraid on turf. I mean, he did, as you pointed out to me, have some decent races in Europe on turf. But that was also on a straightaway course where it lends itself to horses being a little more bunched up.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be shocked if he wins, but I think it's a horrible gamble.
Start of the cross-country Pick 5 begins here. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Set. And they're off. Power Attack right towards the front, and quickly Power Attack up by a full length. P Money is going to be with this leader, now moves towards the outside, as crossing over is going to be Kendra Carmouche and Power Attack from the outside draw. Now they get over to the rail, and they're the clear leader. P Money is re-engaging towards the outside of Holding the Line, who wants off the rail and now does, gets into the 2-path, these 3 across the course. Borletti is well settled in the 4th position. Now moving forward, here comes Can't Beat the Rock, is to the inside of Street Swag. They're going to be 5th and 6th. Then comes the lime green cap, that's Devil's Key, is mid-pack. Screw Loose is towards the back end of the field. Warrior Richard with the trailer. Showdown King, 22-4 for Power Attack. Power Attack's got the lead. It's Power Attack and Holding the Line. Dropping back was P Money. Here's Borletti. Borletti is improving, is now ready to challenge for second. The rail is open for now. Power Attack gets the leader at the top of the lane. Here comes Borletti trying to muscle on through at the inside. Holding the Line is in the center of the course. Can't Beat the Rock from the back. Screw Loose trying to rally on. Power Attack is very game. Is tough to pass on by. Power Attack to the outside. Borletti to the inside. Can't Beat the Rock late. Power Attack is almost home. Power Attack. Borletti tries one final time. Power Attack wins it. Power Attack over Borletti. Then Can't Beat the Rock flying on late. Devil's Key is in a photo with Screw Loose in 1 minute 10-1.
6 was awful.
Power Attack holds off Borletti. Speed of the field. A horse with one of the better turf resumes in the field. Kendra Carmouche gets him to the front and able to hold off Borletti.
Yeah, he bounded out of the gate, Power Attack. Took command, was able to clear and make the other potential speeds ease back, Holding the Line being one of them. Look how game he is, Andy. He puts the one Borletti in a tight spot, but within the boundaries of the rules, and his horse really engaged and fought.
I'm shocked this horse wasn't favored. He was the horse to beat in a lot of ways going into the race. Kendrick rode him perfectly. And he ends up being 3-1 because they're overbetting Irad. Now listen, it's not as though, as you say, Borletti ran badly, but he had every chance to win this race. And say he'd want to go through in the stretch, I just think he was the second best horse in here. The horse who was disappointing was the 6. Boy, he didn't run a step.
And he had good position.
Yep.
Well, here's Kendrick. Red cap, and see how tight that spot gets for Borletti on the inside.
Yeah, and you can see he's got his horse's head turned over to him. He wants his horse to engage. Now, they brush slightly there.
Irad makes a little extra room.
Yeah, you know, he's
Irad.
got to make some room for himself because you have no place to go. There's a fence there, right? But this is when we talk about race riding, right? You want your horse over on top of the other horse, and that's why he's got his head turned into him, to make him engage, make him take up a fight.
But watching that, wouldn't you argue that if one of the riders, I'm not saying anything, either one of them did anything wrong, but if one of them was a little more aggressive, it was Irad coming out to create room than Kendrick coming in.
Yeah, I think the first one, you can see this is a great illustration, the pan shot. Both of them have their heads turned towards each other. Now, obviously completely different in some respects, but similar.
Sunday silence.
Easygoer Sunday silence.
Yeah. Our brains are synced.
Somehow, Power Attack goes off at 3-1 in this race to kick off this cross-country pick 5. Borletti runs big, but second best, 10-1, 5-9, couple of long shots, 14-1, 12-1 underneath. Cross-country pick 5 begins with this now 3-time winner, 2 of them coming on the grass. Deterministic, so impressive in the Gotham. Is he Belmont bound? We'll find out how he fares in the Peter Pan and his audition coming up next.
Respect the law. He's earned it. A Grade 1 winning juvenile.
'Tis the law, pops the cork in the champagne.
A classic winning 3-year-old.
'Tis the law, and is gonna win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
5 triple-digit buyers.
Respect the law, 'tis the law.
The best son of Red Hot Sire Constitution.
He's left the others behind. He's gonna win the Run Happy Travers.
'Tis the law.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. We're brought to you by Naira Bets, but any track, anywhere, anytime. And they may have heard the crowd screaming over there in Manhattan, as it's always a popular victory when Kendrick Carmouche is in the winner's circle. He guided Power Attack to a gate-to-wire victory today. He's here with me now. And Kendrick, this guy flew out of the gate. He's a pretty cool horse.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool horse. I rode him when he was a 2-year-old. He's way settled now and way laid back, but you know he's still gonna leave the gate nice and fast for you. And I thought I just had to make sure I break him very exceptionally in this race, where I could get ahead of the inside speed, and then I could have controlled it a little bit better. And I got my position going out on the backside. I just had to hold everybody off, and you can see he fought back gamely. I didn't have to do too much the last 10, 15 yards.
Well, that's what I thought. It was clean riding, but it was race riding, kind of making it a little tight for John Velasquez on the 3, then holding off Irad, who tried to come up your inside. Doesn't he know better not to come up your inside? Come on, Irad.
It happens, when you're out there and you're riding, sometimes you leave a little room and guys sneak in, but, when you have the horse to at least fight them off, it's worth that. And, hey, gotta ride smart out here. We're in New York City, man.
That's the truth, as you will be down on the rail in the Grade 2 Man of War coming up later. A Bordeaux Hana honor for Shug McGahee. You've been on him. You've won on him. He came back with a nice victory last time out at Keeneland. Controlling. Where do you see him today?
I think I'm going to warm him up good. I'm going to get him going good. Shug always like to see his horses settle in. They're going to have pace in the race. The outside got speed. That's not too much for me. That's not going to bother me. I think he's going to have to make more of a decision than me about what he want to do, because he got the outside post. So, I'm going to just let my horse break good. I want all my horses to break good. Wherever he's going to sit, I'm going to leave him there. I'm going to be comfortable with it. I think they're going to go slow enough. And the horse on the lead, he's going to have to come back today. It's not going to be like other than last time.
That is true. A little bit of a challenge and a step up for him. Wishing you the best of luck. Congrats here at Power Attack.
Thank you very much. Louisiana, baby, in the house.
I think there must be a lot of people from Louisiana. You hear it? Do you guys hear it? Greg?
Always got to get that in when he gets his picture taken. A lot of love for Kendrick Carmouche on this circuit, man who always seems to have a smile on his face.
I grew up 9 miles from here, and they never acted like that when I came back after winning.
No, they swore at you and yelled, did things. They obviously like Kendrick a lot more than they like you, Richie. I hate to be the one to break it to you.
I guess there are a lot of Louisiana natives out there.
So I can understand that. It is a beautiful day.
Sun shining, gorgeous Saturday afternoon here and in Oceanport for opening day at Monmouth Park. We've been blessed with great weather for this Saturday afternoon and these terrific cards we have. We're going to take a timeout. Up next, it's an audition for the Belmont Stakes, and it was the coming out party last year for a horse who'd go on to win the Belmont and add the Travers and become the 3-year-old of the year. Arcangelo making history in the progress. We'll be back.
Good Magic is off to a meteoric start at stud, having sired 2 Eclipse Award finalists in first crop Kentucky Derby champion Mage and second crop Grade 1 winning 2-year-old Muth. With just 2 crops to race, Good Magic ranked 21st on the general sire list with nearly $10 million in progeny earnings. Mage's graded stakes winning full brother Dornoch is one of the leading contenders for this year's Kentucky Derby. Good Magic, the classic sire.
Monmouth Park summer season rolls on with live racing action every weekend. Monmouth's 2023 season featured our highest average field size since 2015, the perfect recipe for a prolific payday. With a stakes race every Saturday and Sunday, plus our winner only pick 5, Monmouth Park is your summer place to profit. Joining us on site, lock in your odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Quality at his core.
And Core Beliefs will come on and win it nicely.
By leading sire, Quality Road.
And here is Core Beliefs to take the lead. Core Beliefs on the outside. Here it is. Core Beliefs.
All the best attributes of his sire. A multiple graded stakes winner who's proven at the classic distance with tactical speed and a must-see physical.
It's Core Beliefs who digs his heels in to win the New Orleans Handicap.
Core Beliefs, standing at Walmack.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred Racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Live coverage, live look. Opening day, Monmouth Park in Oceanport, New Jersey. Or it's Pick 6 time. Jersey Shore 6. A Pick 6 carryover. How's that possible? It's opening day, right? 30,000 because it carried over from October. Closing day, Monmouth at Meadowlands canceled. So here we are. And there's the one. Kingdom on Pause, 7-1 drawn inside.
Yeah, this Animal Kingdom out of Bear She Goes, hence the name Kingdom on Pause. Shifting to the dirt, has been running mainly on turf and synthetics. Hasn't shown much on the dirt so far.
Quick gelding, you saw Drama's Prayer. More on him in a moment. The 5, Fight Fiercely, off the board in 6 straight this year. Then the 7 in My Mamba, aptly named by Kobe's Back.
Yeah, this is my pick, dropping in class significantly from a $25,000 claimer down to a $7,500 claimer.
Several scratches changing the complexion of the race. There's Awesome Prince, the one to beat, even money. I wonder how much better he is, though, Raj, at 7/8 of a mile.
Yeah, he ran a good race at 7/8 of a mile last time to lose by only 3/4 of a length. Cuts back to 3/4, which is a furlong shorter, which he had a 3rd place finish 2 starts back at 6 furlongs.
Little sharper. Could make that much of a difference. We'll see. Even money. Awesome Prince. Circling back to your top selection in My Mamba. All right, so give us the sales pitch. What are you liking here?
Well, My Mamba is second start off the claim for Mario Serrere, the trainer. He claimed this horse in February from a 16,000 claimer, which it ran a long distance, a mile. It now shifts down to 6 furlongs and drops in class to 7,500, which I think is the right combo factor to make this horse move up.
9-2, Raj's top selection, My Mamba, number 7. JK and Paul, great minds, think alike, question mark, we'll see. You both like Drama's Prayer, number 2 with Matty overboard.
Yeah, well, JK and I so far picked one winner, and the horse was 3-5, so we figured 2 negatives will make a positive in here, JK. Yeah, I'm kind of with JK. I think at 2-1, you're getting better value with the 2, because I think that this horse is the speed of the speed in here with Matty Oliver, Burn.
Well, I thought this race was between 3 horses, a 2, 4, and the 9. The 4 and the 9 scratched. It kind of left me default to the 2. But talking about the 2 being the horse that's left in here, this is a horse that last time at Tampa Bay spent a little bit of time down on the inside. And Tampa typically has been a place where the inside is not where you want it to be. So just based on that historical data that you know about Tampa, the fact this horse spent time down there, first time off a layoff, you'd like to think they'll show a little bit more here. I like the 2 quite a bit at 8-5, Paulie. I'm just hoping this horse takes another step forward, second off of a layoff.
I'm kind of with you. You know, like you said, the 4 and the 9 were giant scratches here. I think the 9 probably would have went off as your favorite. I don't get the 8 at 7-5. Maybe those races will compute in here, and maybe in a smaller field, JK, do you take a horse that will come from behind? But I just think the 2 can get clear from this field.
No, and drawing down on the inside, a lot of times when you have a horse that you feel like you want to be forward or their best chance of winning is forward, I like when they draw towards the inside. It kind of takes a lot of the guessing away from it. I'm sure Rajiv can add on to that a little bit more than I could. I've never sat on one's back, but just kind of getting away from there, knowing what am I going to do? Take back, eat a bunch of dirt for half a mile. Let's go ahead and go to the front from that inside post position.
Rajiv, I'll let you answer that question, my friend.
Yeah, rightfully so. Matty Oliver is a clear cut. She doesn't have the option to break and take back and put herself in a compromised position being behind horses. This is a speed horse, drawn the inside. She has only one option, and that is to go. In the same breath saying that, Sammy Camacho on the number 8, Awesome Prince, he cannot let her get too much of an easy lead. These are the 2 favorites. He's going to have to throw the gauntlet at her at some point. And being that she's on one of the main competition, he should be doing this earlier than later. He can't let her get away too easily. And what I think is going to happen is that's going to cause some fireworks. and they're going to get softened up. And my top pick, Mr. Hernandez on My Mamba, the number 7, is just going to let them beat each other up and come to the fight when they're softened up with a fresh horse.
They're playing your theme song.
It's almost as if you won already. I convinced myself that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Smooth Jazz with Rajiv. It's with My Mamba at 4-1. It's just bizarre. You don't see this. It's the pick 6 carryover dating back to October. $30,000. It starts here. Again, closing day, Monmouth at Meadowlands. A rain out, canceled. So here we are with the pick 6, the Jersey 6, about to get underway. Paul and JK, number 2, Drama's Prayer. My Mamba, Rajiv. Awesome Prince, the favorite at post time. Matt Didham with the call. Race 5 live. Opening day, Monmouth on Fox Sports 2.
We're ready to go. And they're off. Good start for all the runners. Drama's Prayer out alert lead today and goes right to the lead, clears off, opens up a length and a half in the early stages. My Mamba now moving up to come and challenge. Kingdom on pause down on the inside, getting closer. Drama's Prayer got a breather in the first furlong, picks up the tempo, leads a half length. Kingdom on pause second. My Mamba backs off in third, is 2 lengths off the lead. There's a gap of 3 to Awesome Prince second to last. Fight Fiercely is the early trailer as the quintet approach the 4-turn run. Drama's Prayer leads the way. Kingdom on pause at to steady, was in tight down on the rail and drops back to second. Mamba out. My Mamba rather takes the second position. Kingdom on pause is third and losing position around the turn. Awesome Prince under the stick, about 7 off the pace, and Fight Fiercely has been outrun. It appears top of the lane. Drama's Prayer off the turn with a length lead. My Mamba trying to reel in the front runner as they swing down the lane, and here comes My Mamba leveling off and ran right by Drama's Prayer. And My Mamba and Jorge Hernandez opening up by 3-4. And My Mamba is long gone. My Mamba winning it comfortably by about 5 or 6. Fight Fiercely rallied on best of the rest and was second. Photo for third. Awesome Prince and Kingdom on pause.
It has to be the Smooth Jazz. It has to be. My Mamba, Raj's top selection here, rolls in the 5th at Monmouth to kick off the Jersey 6.
Drum roll, please. But yeah, My Mamba sat the perfect trip like we hoped. It wasn't the number 8 that Awesome Prince that pressured him. The pressure came from the one horse on the inside, Kingdom on pause, but nevertheless softened up Drama's Prayer on the lead, and My Mamba was able to capitalize on that speed duel and just pull away from the closers in the stretch.
Easy daylight win. My Mamba by Kobe's back rolls in the 5th race here at Monmouth Park. Those results forthcoming, off and running in the Jersey Shore 6. Meantime, back at Aqueduct, 3-year-olds in the paddock for the Peter Pan. Maggie Wolfendale standing by as we all try to figure out who's it going to be. Who's it going to be to revisit Operation Archangelo this year from the Peter Pan to the Belmont Stakes?
Yeah, that double doesn't often happen. I mean, before Archangelo, it was 9 years prior to that with Tonalist as Christophe Clement. He will try to do that again here with Deterministic, but standing in his way is a venerable New York bred in number 3, the Wine Steward, as he came back to the races in that Grade 3 Lexington running very well. Yes, I will say he was with the racetrack, but Encino even more so as he got to control on the front end, saving ground in the Wine Steward until about the quarter pole or a little bit before that. He was on the rail, tipped out, just could never quite grind down that winner in Encino. But I will say this about the Wine Steward. Mike Maker has been quoted as saying that he had many bumps in the road from the break, from the Breeders' Futurity to getting back to the races and making that 3-year-old debut. Also, I found it interesting that despite him only having won at 6 furlongs or less, he does feel as though distance is on his side. I'm not sure. I know he's by Vino Rosso. He's out of it to Honor and Serve mare. Both of them say distance. He hasn't changed much from 2 to 3. He was an impressive looking 2-year-old, and, had a lot more size and scope than many of his foes, but I feel like that competition's caught up. And again, looking at his form, it feels as though he is on that upward trajectory and looks incredibly fit and well turned out here. I just wonder how far does he really want to go as he tries the 9 furlongs for the first time? And standing his way is a good-looking duo from the Todd Pletcher barn. He'll send out the Maiden Protective, running third in the Memorial, as well as Antiquarian, who broke through the gate in that Louisiana Derby. And then he broke well, but once he got the kickback, he kind of went to just looking uncomfortable. He was on the wrong lead going into the turn. He was on his inside lead from the start, and then he was kind of running with his tail straight out in the air. He just never looked comfortable or settled, and that's why Johnny moved him to the outside to track 3 wide, which, you know, in turn made him lose more ground. So I'm wondering if that effort may be a little bit better than it appears. He's a robust and burly colt. I like what I'm seeing from Antiquarian here by Preservationist. Todd, familiar with some of this pedigree, as we'll move on to number 8, Native Land for Riley Mott. It's no wonder Riley has never started this horse less than a mile. He's so long, so leggy and scopy. I think he is one that's going to take a step forward here, guys.
He just may. Here comes our post parade for the Peter Pan, and we start with Protective for Todd Pletcher.
It's a maiden who ran respectably in the Wood Memorial, where the winner ran a good race in the Derby. He had trouble early, but a great ride by Kendrick thereafter.
Back-to-back wins and went gate to wire last time out. Unique insight for trainer Chad Brown.
He could play out to be the controlling speed here, and he already sports 2 wins at the 1.8 mile distance around 2 turns here at Aqueduct. He's a player.
Here's the favorite, grade 1 placed, the Wine Steward, the New York bred.
He should be forwardly placed behind Unique Insight, and if he handles the distance, he's a very logical horse. A little under-aggressively ridden last time may have cost him the win.
Antiquarian, he tried the Triple Crown Trail, Louisiana Derby. He wound up 6th.
Yeah, beaten 4 lengths to Catching Freedom and ran okay in the Derby with a really good trip under Flavien Prat.
Deterministic. Here we go. Does he want this distance? Today's going to answer that question.
And this will be the day that answers if he's a horse that's better going around shorter races around 1 turn or not. Today he needs to show up and run a respectable race. If he does, he'll be headed to the Belmont.
So impressive in that Gotham victory and that debut. And then here's Native Land, Riley Mott. He's put together back-to-back wins.
He's never run a bad race. He's going to have to improve a bit, but who's to say a 3-year-old this time of year doesn't have that improvement in them.
Interesting long shot, 13-1 on the outside. Of course, this race, a major stepping stone to the Belmont Stakes. And just last year, it was the coming out party for your eventual Belmont Travers winner, Arcangelo.
Yeah, this was a really nice effort here. Ran down a loose on the leader.
Well, I was just wondering, I can't remember what happened to him, but this horse ran well
Saudi
that day.
Crown, right?
No.
Okay.
Brad Cox.
Brad Cox.
He'd go on to do this in the Belmont Stakes.
Listen, we've seen some very good horses win the Peter Pan and the Belmont. Tonalist did it, AP Indy did it, Coastal did it. It's something that can absolutely happen. It'll be interesting. Not impossible. It happens here. It's not as though the Kentucky Derby was such a fast race that somebody can't step forward that wasn't in the Derby and be effective in the Belmont.
Yeah, it's been a very strong prep, and I think appropriately so. Peter Pan, the horse which this race is named for, won the Belmont Stakes. Going back to 1906, though.
I wasn't there.
Before Arcangelo pulled it off, the last horse to have done it. Trained by the man standing by with Acacia.
That's right, Christophe Clement joining me. Is Christophe, the Peter Pan Belmont double has been successful with you, of course, with Tonalist in 2014. Reflect back a little bit on that and how this race served as a great prep for him.
Tonalist, he missed the Wood. He got a setback in Florida, so we couldn't make the Wood, which means we did not make the Derby. But then he trained very well when he came back to New York, and we saw the Peter Pan was a logical race, and he won well, and he raced very well, and he went on to win the Belmont, so it worked out.
A horse that won a lot of big races here in New York and looking to potentially do the same this year with Deterministic. What have you seen from him coming out of that try in the Wood?
It's a bit ambitious, but we'll try. Now, Deterministic trained well. We got a terrible race in the Wood, not exactly sure why, but he's trained well since then. He's a sound horse, he looks well. There's no doubt in my mind that he's got ability. I still have a question mark about the distance. Is he really a mile 8 2-turn versus shorter 7-8 or a mile 1 turn? I don't know. But I guess we'll find out today. We should have the answer to quite a few questions today.
Certainly will. Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Greg.
So a lot of eyes on this horse who overcame so much in that debut at Saratoga. He really was one of the more talked about 2-year-olds off that debut performance. Then he comes off a 6.5-month layoff. stakes debut in just his second start and produces this performance.
And if he had gone from this race to making a move in mid-stretch in the Wood and not finishing the deal and running third or fourth, you'd say he can't get the distance. He ran so incredibly badly in the Wood Memorial that it feels like something went wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. He's done fine. I talked to Joel Rosario, who really didn't have a lot of answers to what happened, and he was sort of empty in the race. I think he's going to run a lot better today, and I won't be surprised if he wins this race today. This is an acid test for him. I'm hoping that he runs at least respectably, but if he doesn't run well enough to win at this distance, they should run him in the Woody Stevens up in Saratoga, because there's no denying his one-turn races are excellent.
He has great ability. I think you make a great point. If he had made some sort of a move, some sort of an effort, and flattened out, you might make the case that, well, it's the distance. We can't say that because he just didn't show up. And somebody much smarter than me years ago told me, you never crown a horse a champion off of one great effort, and you don't throw a horse out off of one poor effort.
I'm surprised to see so much love for Antiquarian. They'll be smarter than me if he gets the mighty done. The horse you picked, Rich, go ahead, Greg. The horse that you picked, Unique Insight, I think he's the upset possibility in here. Yes, maybe the mud carried him last time, but his last race was very fast and good enough to win here, and they're going to be aggressive with him again, and maybe he's just a different horse now and better on the lead.
His 2 races stretching out to 2 turns on the dirt, both yielded victories. Now, I agree. Maybe the off-going made this effort even better, but you can't help but like the fact that he has 2 wins at the distance, although, Greg, you just made a very good point to me. It was just 2 efforts that he raced with Lasix, too.
Always something to consider. I'm curious, Greg, though, the figures that you look at, do they have Unique Insight as a player in here?
He would need to take a move forward, but he's moving in the right direction, for sure. Yeah, look, never too late. We see horses that you got to develop to get to the Derby, and still horses now, 3-year-olds developing and moving forward. He's one who's moving forward. But the horse with the biggest figures is the horse who's the even money favorite. His 3-year-old comeback, thoroughgraph-wise, stood out against this group, unless Deterministic runs back to that Gotham.
Yeah, and he's probably a horse that in the past had shown more speed than Encino 01, and maybe it was off a layoff. They didn't want to get too aggressive. That was a very good inside track that day. Now, to be fair, Wine Stewart rode the rail until he angled out in the stretch, so it's not that he had a bad trip, but maybe Encino had a slightly better trip. Maybe he got a little tired late. It's an interesting pedigree because he's got a lot of stamina from Bino Rosso, who, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Not so much from the dam side, so we'll see how far he wants to go. He's a little overbet here. Are you surprised that Deterministic's not taking a little more money?
I thought they'd be much closer in the wagering, Deterministic and him. But again, everybody looks at the last race and maybe forgets about the Gotham. I just think he, for whatever reason, and by all reports he came out of the Wood Memorial in good order, he just didn't show up that day.
Probably the biggest question mark in the country running today, that horse right there, Deterministic. What will he do? Can we see a repeat of that Gotham, but going 2 turns? Let's go downstairs for more with Maggie and Acacia.
And Acacia, it's exciting to see what will, the anticipation, I should say, what Deterministic does. And, that race coming back, it was in the slop, it was at a mile. So last time in the Wood Memorial, I thought he got a bit headstrong, and a lot of times horses just expend way too much energy being against their riders.
And you're fighting Joel Rosario, who's a very good rider to get a horse to settle. Now, I know that Christoph did tell Joel today that if he starts to get a little bit rank, give him his head. And I think that could be a key for him as well. He didn't break that well last time either, kind of getting awkwardly out. But he's a tricky horse because you weren't able to read anything, as Christoph said, off of that last race as far as how he will handle it. The distance is a big question for me as well. But he's trained so well coming out of it. He didn't have any physical blemishes after that Wood try.
Now, the guys mentioning number 2, Unique Insight, he's really starting to put things together as of late. He's a half-brother to a New York bred that you're familiar with in Drake's Passage, but as we were just saying, they couldn't look any different.
No, not at all. Drake's Passage looks like Tonalist, who he's by, and Unique Insight favors more Gun Runner, so I think it's very
Candy
much,
Ride,
yeah, Candy Ride, very much a Candy Ride physical for him, but he's convincing at the distance. Now, one thing about the family is that Drake's Passage did like a wet track as well. Was he moved up on that last time? But I do think that he appreciates being forward and going long.
And it's interesting you bring up a wet sealed track as the dam. She was a turf horse, as we are both landing on Antiquarian. I don't know know how we keep doing this, but it's okay. I just was impressed with him physically, and I just don't think anything went right last time.
I don't think so either. And maybe he was a little bit tough to handle in the preliminaries. He was so calm and relaxed today, and I know he can get the distance.
Greg?
Grade 3, Peter Pan auditioned for the Belmont Stakes. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Goes in. All set for the Peter Pan. And they're off. Stumbled the break for Unique Insight, but did break quickly, and Unique Insight right to the front with the Wine Steward, who's going to stalk from second. Antiquarian is well settled just off of them in third, 3 wide. At the rail will be Protective. Rat Ortiz Jr. is towards the inside, saving ground, is in the 4th position. Then comes Native Land, and Deterministic is the early trailer, just a touch rank. Now gets that kickback, is the trailer 5 lengths off the lead. Unique Insight has the lead. We'll take him to the backstretch, 23-4. The opening quarter mile, right there is the Wine Steward in perfect stalking range, now within a half length of the lead. Antiquarian is 3 wide, and Protective gets a nice journey in 4th, is only 2.5 off the leaders. Native Land continues to track from 5th, and Deterministic at the back end of the field, 5 lengths at the back. They're chasing Unique Insight at 6-1. 47-4, the half-mile time. The Wine Steward is right there for Luis Saez, ready to pounce in the 2-path. Antiquarian is also engaged from 3rd. Protective continues to save ground towards the inside as they work into the far turn now. From the back, Native Land is trying to pick it up, and Deterministic has trailed throughout. And now here comes the run from the Wine Steward, is ready to challenge Unique Insight. Antiquarian is encouraged to move forward here from 3rd. Protective is right there in 4th, in behind these leaders as they approach the top of the stretch. Deterministic, Native Land, they've got to pick it up from the back, and the Wine Steward's got the lead. The seam opens up for Protective, and now it just closes. The Wine Steward, Unique Insight still there. Antiquarian's trying to run them both down. Protective is still looking for room. It's the Wine Steward who's fending him off. Antiquarian, now Protective is loose. It's Antiquarian towards the outside, and Antiquarian is pushed on by for John Velasquez. Antiquarian wins the Peter Pan. The Wine Steward second, Protective, Unique Insight. Final running time, 1:48.4.
Antiquarian had a brief audition on the Triple Crown Trail, did not get him into the Kentucky Derby. Comes up with his Peter Pan win. Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez.
Always poised, in good position. He was laying 3rd, out in the clear, was always traveling well under Johnny Velasquez. Unique Insight set a measured pace. I wouldn't call it a slow pace, but a measured pace. The Wine Steward was after him. Protective had to wait for a bit of room. Deterministic was kind of taken out of the race early and was a bit keen in the back of the pack. And then he just was left, first of all, left too much to do, but didn't come up with much run when he finally was asked to run.
No, he was awful, unfortunately. And of course, listen, good pick by both Acacia and Maggie. I did not like this horse, and they were right. He ran a winning race. The Wine Steward ran fine, but he was no match for the winner. Just ground him down the stretch. Nice performance by Protective. You know, he ran incredibly, got a good trip. He just wasn't quite good enough. Unique Insight, no excuse whatsoever, couldn't get it done. But obviously, a disappointment for Deterministic. I don't even know what to say after that race, unfortunately.
Disappointing. Does not hit the board, but Antiquarian, maybe a new 3-year-old face, will have on the Triple Crown scene with his Peter Pan win, you would think, on to the Belmont at Saratoga.
Well, talking about the Triple Crown races, if this horse is able to win this race, Tuscan Gold ran a considerably better race than he did in finishing ahead of him in the Louisiana Derby, and he's going to be in the Preakness. This race makes Tuscan Gold even tougher than the Preakness.
Yeah, flatters his form. Let's go to Maggie.
Here with Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher. We're going to get Don Little Jr. here in, as well as Centennial Farms at Antiquarian. Todd, everything going right today as opposed to last time in the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, unfortunately, Louisiana didn't go well for us last time, and we knew he'd trained really well all winter and spring, and we thought he was capable of performance like this, so happy to see him deliver it.
And Don, how special is this? Just a horse that seems to relish longer distances and grinded out the victory today.
Well, congratulations to Todd and his team for doing such a great job. Paula Parsons and Dr. Carr for picking him out, but being by a son of preservationists, it makes it even a little bit sweeter.
Absolutely, you campaigned him. Guys, congratulations on this big win.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. Belmont?
Absolutely.
Okay by me.
Sounds good to me, Greg.
Sounds like we're going to see this horse in Saratoga for the Belmont Stakes. Third and final leg of the Triple Crown. Why not take a shot? Improving 3-year-old, still very lightly raced. This is just his 4th career start.
No, you should be putting to the Belmont off of this race. Listen, there was nothing that anybody saw in the Kentucky Derby that's supposed to scare somebody off from bringing horses into the Belmont Stakes off this. He seems to have no problem staying the distance, and he absolutely feels like he could be a factor. We'll see what the figures are, but you know, he feels like he could be another horse with a chance to make the double.
5-1, Antiquarian. Todd Pletcher, Johnny V team up for the win. Centennial Farms. And on to upstate New York on June the 8th. We'll be back.
Nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness.
At the line, War of Will. That's a photo for the win.
Freedom and a minute and 4 down there, minute and 4 down. 400,000 to back. Thank you.
War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on our live Saturday coverage, America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Alapa. Just a gorgeous Saturday afternoon here in South Ozone Park, New York. Grade 3 Peter Pan in the books, and the winner typically moves on to that third and final leg of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. And we heard in the interview, Maggie with trainer Todd Pletcher, that will be the plan with Antiquarian.
And once again, I think they absolutely should be going to the Belmont. I mean, why would you run in this race if you're not planning on going to the Belmont if you're not successful? And he ran well here. The pace wasn't particularly fast, but he stalked outside 3 wide and he wore down the favorite, the Wine Steward. Ran well in here to get it done. It's not like anybody else did a lot of running in here, and we'll see what kind of speed figures they get. But Kentucky Derby winner got 100 Beyer. It's not like there's some mountain out there that's tough to climb.
I agree with you. And Antiquarian at 1380 over the favorite, the Wine Steward, kind of has the style of a horse that you think would stay a classic distance. A mile and a quarter should not be an issue for him. because he's kind of a grinding type. He just stays. He's got a good cruising speed, puts himself in position, and then he just stays on doggedly.
And seems right that maybe this could be the best preservationist this sire we've seen. They owned Centennial Farm, owned preservationists. Like Jimmy Jerkins trained him, I believe.
Yeah,
and now they own this horse as well.
Yeah, Woodward winner and the Suburban winner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice horse.
Junior Alvarado, I believe.
Sounds right.
That's
Yes.
some big wins on him. Up
Beat
next, our
FNX, I want to say.
ABR race of the week. It is the Grade 2 Man of War, mile and 3/8 on the turf, and a very difficult 1-2 punch showing up for Godolphin and champion international trainer Charlie Appleby in Silver Knot, and the favorite Nation's Pride.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Nation Prize hovering around even money. I think he's a dramatic underlay at that price because I don't believe he's necessarily that much better than these horses. His form is a bit spotty. He's run some decent races at time, but this is a very competitive field. Nice to see Frankie Dettori here riding. Don't see him at Aqueduct too often, but he's going to get a lot of money, and there may be other players in here that are contenders at least at much better prices.
Much more on our ABR race of the week when we come back. But Charlie Appleby and Godolphin, yeah, very tough duo in this spot coming up in this Man of War. We got more coming up across the way as well from Oceanport, New Jersey, and our opening day coverage from Monmouth Park continues. Right after that, important 3-year-old race on the opening day card in the Long Branch to come at 1 mile and 70 yards and a $100,000 purse ahead.
Volatil in front as they pass the 16th pole. Volatil victorious in the Vanderbilt, won by 2 lengths.
Tremendous amount of talent with his win in the Vanderbilt, as well as a couple of his wins at Churchill Downs. Ran unbelievably fast. Very special family to me.
Perfect sire for 2-year-old sales. Just a gorgeous horse and throwing very athletic horses that I think will run.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
200 right there. 1,200,000. 25, 550. Mitchell, 550,000.
And now 500. And 500,000. Thank you.
450. 75. 475,000.
Exciting day of thoroughbred racing. So glad you could join us on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Opening day, Monmouth Park, live look, 79th season. And gearing up for the second turf race this afternoon. Second leg of the Jersey Shore 6. And a 2-1 favorite pictured in Gliding a Fleet. Raj, why favored? Last 7 races on a dirt and synthetic.
Well, the reason why he's a favorite is, even though it's raced on dirt and synthetic most recently, he has 6 career starts on the turf, and he's had 2 wins and a third from those 6 career starts. So he's a deserving favorite. Not only that, he ran in a $20,000 claiming race in his last race, and now he's down to the 12,500 level, which is a significant drop in class, and he also won at the 12,500 level 2 starts back. So there's a lot of things aligning for him today.
But you're trying to beat him with a 9-1 shot. Number 9, Battalion. Why do you like him?
And I like Battalion because of the dynamics of the race. This race seems to have a lot of horses that have natural early speed. And I I'm expecting a very contentious early pace. I want a horse that's going to be closing from well off the pace.
Is he awake?
And Battalion is the horse that will be coming from well off the pace. Now, I saw that they brought him up to the starting gate a lot earlier. He broke post parade, and he seems to be acting perfectly fine on the track. If a horse has a tendency to be rambunctious in any means or some kind of troublesome manner, once in a while you see them take them up to the gate earlier than everyone else and stand them. He seems to be standing very well. I would love to hear what the guys down there, JK and Paul, if they can give us some insight on how he's behaving.
You hear that, guys? Now he's just doing my job for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they got the horse to the gate early. He was acting up a tiny bit in the post parade, and Raji's right. They got the horse behind the gate as the other horses are still walking towards the chute. And if you've ever been here to Monmouth, they have the chute that goes up there as well. So it looks like he's kind of settled in a little bit. Hopefully he'll be okay when the race goes off in here. But JK, you're on the one in here. This horse has been getting bet. I know there's some scratches in here. 4-1, okay price for you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Look, when you have a tactical horse, a horse that has some tactical speed, right, down on the inside, I like this trip, right? If they want to get aggressive with restored order, they can send to the front end. I got no problem there. But also, I like getting that pocket trip, that inside pocket trip where you're sitting in behind horses in that nice, comfortable spot where they're covered up, but they're still close enough, not too far back. I think restored order kind of feels like that type of horse. You got to ignore the last 3 races. Those aren't going to really get you warm and fuzzy about the 4-1, but that race 4 back does get me warm and fuzzy, and I'm hoping that that's the performance we get out of restored order.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with more with you. I landed on the 4 in here, but I can take 2-1 on a horse that hasn't ran on the turf in a while. I thought if I was going to go in another direction, I thought the 9 was Battalion, had a little bit of a look at 8-1, but I'm not arguing with you. I think I had the race 4-1, 9 in here. Lafitte, hopefully we can get the late pick 5 going for the fans out there.
Plenty of time as we get set for this 6th race of 10 on opening day. The 7th is the Long Branch. You'll see it right here on America's Day at the races as they file in. Quickly, Raj, they do break on a dog leg. How severe of a dog leg, how much of a bend is that?
Well, if you can see, the number 1 horse is in the gate. They put him in the 4 pad because if he was in the inside most gate, he would be running directly head on with that rail. So they give a little space. However, it's such a short run into that dog leg. If the inside horses don't get away well enough, naturally the outside horses are going to fan over. And when that happens, it can cause the inside horses to get squeezed back. And that's very important in this race because the 2 favorites are breaking from the 2 inside posts, the number 1 and the number 4. So it's vital to see who gets away clean, how they establish themselves going by that dog leg there.
All set for the 6th, live from Monmouth here, opening day. Matt Dinneman standing by with the call. It's post time.
We're ready to go. And they're off. And Battalion just walked out of the gate and actually bucked coming out of there well behind, at least a dozen lengths off the rest of the field here, really, as they come out of the chute. Restored Order is the pacemaker, has opened up the lead to 2.5 lengths and now slowing the pace down as Gliding of Fleet moves up to take 2nd. Mount Suribachi 3rd, and then Ohana Empire 4th. Approaching the clubhouse turn, a gap of 2 to Barley 1 and Eddie the Great. They're side by side. Kentucky Cool is next. My boy Colton 2nd to last. He's running 8 or 9 lengths off the speed in a space of 7 back to the trailing Battalion, who's well out of it as they approach the backstretch run. Restored Order, the leader here, gets a clear time of it. A length and 3/4 ahead. Gliding of Fleet running in 2nd. Mount Suribachi 3rd. Eddie the Great 4th down on the rail now. 3 lengths off the pace. Another length to Ohana Empire racing alone, now being joined by My Boy Colton and Barley 1, who's 3 deep. Kentucky Cool 2nd to last, and that leaves the trailer Battalion still to trail as they go into the far turn. Restored Order into the turn, a half length in front. Gliding a Fleet right there, passing and gliding a Fleet grabs the lead as they round the far turn. Restored Order coming under pressure, trying to fight back. Mount Suribachi is 3 deep. Ohana Empire caught 4 wide coming to the top of the lane. It's wide open as they come off the corner. Mount Suribachi off the turn comes away with the lead. Gliding a Fleet steadies when weakened between horses. Outside, Ohana Empire's trying to get there. They come for home. Mount Suribachi desperate to hang on. Up the inside, here comes My Boy Colton. And My Boy Colton bursts forward on the rail to win it. Mount Suribachi was second. Third home was Ohana Empire. Photo for fourth. Eddie the Great, Restored Order involved in the photo for the Super.
Lots going on in this one. Traffic, some bumping and grinding at the top of the stretch, Raj, and in the end, My Boy Colton, the 7-horse, in his 2024 debut, finds a seam, splits horses, and pulls away in the end.
Yeah, and I expect that there will be a stewards inquiry looking into this event, as the number 5, Mount Suribachi, definitely came in and affected the favorite, Gliding a Fleet, but couldn't stop My Boy Colton. Mario Serre, trainer, second win on the day.
7-5-13 for now. Monmouth, exciting grass race here. A better grass race on tap at Aqueduct. Horses in the paddock for the Grade 2 Man of War, Maggie.
Yeah, formidable duo coming in for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin here, Lafitte, as we'll begin by taking a look at Nation's Pride, who projects to be the likely favorite in here, and a horse that I saw 2 years ago when he was a 3-year-old has definitely done well in the interim. He's so much stronger behind and really just striding out well. Love what I'm seeing from him here today. It was a disappointing effort, though, in Bahrain, going the right-handed track. Now he's back going left-handed. Always thought that the tighter courses were more to his liking because he's built so much more like an American type of turf horse. As we'll take a look at number 6, Greek Order. Now he's going to be a big price in here, and prior to coming to the States, he'd never been off the board. Well, I think more ground's better, as he got away tardily, hopping up at the start at Keeneland last time, and it was just a bit of a tough trip, I think, for him to overcome, and wasn't able to quicken through the lane. I think more ground's really going to be to his liking. He's a long, stretchy horse, has that long, scopy neck to him. I think he's interesting here at a price, guys.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We kick off our post parade with Ohana Honor, Kendrick Carmouche for Shug McGahee.
I'm either making a very clever pick with him or a very stupid pick. He definitely got an easy pace to dominate, but he feels like a horse that really moved forward with a lot more distance, and maybe that's what he wants.
Cortez, States debut. It was a win in the Pan American.
Yeah, he was a stakes place runner in Europe, gets his graded stakes place in the Pan American. Couple horses coming out of that same race.
This horse wants to be forward. He opened up a 12-length lead in a Grade 1. He hung on for third at 90-1.
Shouldn't So High be a favorite among the Aqueduct regulars? He will be winging up front, potentially with his uncoupled stablemate.
Harry Hood, trained by Mark Hennig, missed by a nose to Cortez.
He was beating a nose to Cortez, and he's 25-1, and Cortez is 2-1. How does that make any sense?
Great claim by Mark Hennig.
Here's Tawny Port with a Rat Ortiz Jr. back aboard.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get the outside to make his run, but he still had a pretty good trip last time.
Greek Order, Jose Lezcano at a big price for Belmont.
Had absolutely no chance when he hopped at the break and was way far back, and actually I thought put in a sneaky little run late.
Yeah, both from this barn, this one included. Both want to be forward, rocket and roll.
Yeah, you got So High, you got Rocket and Roll, and you got Harry Hood, named for a fish song. We got a lot of rock and roll in this race.
And here's the Godolphin duo for Charlie Appleby. Silver Knot comes off a win in his 4-year-old return.
Yeah, turns back from after winning the 1.5 mile Elkhorn, and is a horse that will be forward.
And connections say that he does not have to be on the lead, though. And then here's Nation's Pride. He came out of that race in Bahrain with a bit of an issue, so maybe put a line through it.
Maybe. I think he's okay. And he probably is the horse to beat here, but I don't think he's worth 6-5. This could be a more interesting race than the board suggests. And I think this race bodes a little bit well for the division going forward, where we have races there like the Bowling Green, like the Sword Dancer, that we'll see more competitive races.
Top 3 coming out of the Pan American, including the runner-up here, Harry Hood, for the man standing by with Acacia.
That's right, trainer Mark Hennig here with me. Mark, Harry Hood, what a good claim he's been for you. What did he show you to say that he wanted to go those further distances?
Well, he was a 3-year-old, that time of year he was coming off the win, and he just looked like a horse that
that might move forward as he got more mature. He's a big, tall horse, lanky, and he's filled out nicely. You know, it just felt like he was a horse with more future.
He's been right there recently, too, including last time in the Pan American. What were your thoughts on that performance from him?
That was a great performance. You know, it was a big step up in class, but you know, he's at these distances, he's been pretty consistent at trying, and you know, Johnny knows him well now. I think Johnny's got him where he, you know, settles and his finishes well. So we felt like he deserved another shot. This is a tough race, but we're going to give it a shot.
And he has some tactical speed, too, to put him into the race.
He does. You know, he's kind of sit right in behind the speed.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Acacia.
Greg?
Harry Hood, big number on the board, 25-1, even though he just missed against Cortez, who's 4-1.
Listen, a great claim by Mark Hennig for $50,000, and he's clearly a horse that's coming into his own at a mile in these distance races. You know, we've talked a lot about this race, and obviously Cortez got a marvelous trip in here and a great ride from Joel Rosario. As Harry Hood got a good ride too, but he was a little wider than those horses and ran respectably. Yes, clearly with Tawny Port, it was 3-5, Irad wanted to angle out and get room. It didn't work out that way, but to suggest that this was some sort of horrible trip is a massive overstatement. This horse saved ground every bit of the way. He got through on the inside, and yeah, maybe he would have been more comfortable rallying on the outside. He was 3-5.
And he didn't even encounter that much traffic. It was an overblown call probably by the announcer that made it so dramatic.
I actually thought he had the kind of turf trip you want, in the pocket, saving ground. All right, maybe in a perfect world he gets a little more room slightly earlier, but I don't see very much excuse. I'll take that trip 9 times out of 10 on the turf.
I'd certainly take it better than a lot of trips you get, and he was 3-5, and he wasn't quite good enough. And one of my concerns with Cortez, and listen, I won't be shocked if he runs well in here, but why I bet against him was I always felt Tawny Port just a little cut below the best horses, and I don't know how strong that race was. And we're talking about it up here. The 2 is 9-2. The 6 is 6-1, and Harry Hood is 25-1. Now, I don't particularly like Harry Hood, but I don't understand how he's 5 times, only one-fifth as likely to win as the other horses when they hit the wire together. And it's not like he was crawling on the front end. I just wonder how strong that race was overall.
Cortez, we'll see if he can stay perfect here in the U.S. 1-for-1 off that Pan American win. Let's go downstairs to Maggie and Acacia.
And we continue to be on the same wavelength. But it's worked out, Acacia, as we both are very interested in Cortez. I understand what Andy's saying, that maybe not the strongest field, and he's going to have to step up, but I couldn't get over how good he looks.
He's handled himself beautifully, and as I was saying to you back in the paddock, he's a little bit of an odd type of horse, but he's a 6-year-old now. It is what it is, and that's where you see him kind of bobbing his head, not wanting to go back with the pony. He's actually much better today than he was in Florida last time.
Oh, that's good to hear. Maybe acclimating to the way we do things here in the U.S., but number 1, Ohana Honor, he got away with some softer fractions, albeit when winning the allowance race last time at Keeneland, but you have to say that he's definitely stepped up as a 4-year-old when it comes to his numbers. I liked what I saw from him in the paddock. Very fit third off, also aggressive, so portraying that he'd be forward.
And it's funny because on the bottom side, the pedigree is more sprinters as far as the good ones. Victim of Love, the half-sister, but he is a tall, leggy type of horse, and I think allowing him to use and stretch his legs, going the further distances have helped.
We're both interested in the long shot at 17-1, number 6, Greek Order. I think he'll like the added ground, and he moved beautifully out here in the warm-up.
I really think he'll appreciate the added distance, and not good at the start last time. He was the favorite in his stateside debut. It took him a few strides to get into the race, too, which is not uncommon for a U.S. first race.
Well, hopefully he does a little bit better out of the gate, but then again, maybe he doesn't. Now stretching out to the mile and 3/8, Greg, of this Man of War.
Wow, it would be a surprise, but both their eyes on a long shot in this spot coming up. Meanwhile, odds on right now on Nation's Pride for Charlie Appleby, Godolphin, and there's Frankie Dettori.
I think that's just outrageous. I mean, that is basically saying nobody here is any good. And I'm not saying that he's not a good horse, because he is a good horse. And he got a 104 buyer in this race. I don't know. It was not a very good field. He's running down a Euro that did not come in here with particularly good form, and I just feel like it's a hungry race. This is a so much more competitive race with unknowns. I don't love Cortez, but he's not a bad horse, and he can improve, and I respect they both like the horse. Ohana Honor's a bit of an unknown in here. Greek Order is a huge price, the 6. He couldn't win a mile, blew the break last time. Silver Knot's no bum, and they're betting this horse like, he just sort of can't lose. We saw it in this race last year with another Godolphin horse, Yabir, and he was a bad third.
You can make the argument, potentially it's his stablemate who's his toughest competition. Yeah, and 4-1, that's a big disparity between these two. So a horse who made a big impression when he just missed in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, comes back as a 4-year-old, forwardly placed on the front end, and was it the extra ground maybe that moved this horse forward?
Well, he just got in a beautiful rhythm, and now, listen, he got to set a very controlled pace, and maybe that complements how he finished. He doesn't need the lead because he's had races in the past where he has rallied from off the pace, and I do think there's going to be some false speeds in here that he's going to use almost as pacemakers.
I agree, but he is a bit of a forward horse. Now, his race 2 back in the Iowa Derby was a big step forward. We know what good program trading is. He's won 3 Grade 1s. He won the Turf Classic on the Old Forester Turf Classic on Derby Day. Very good, and that was a pace that kind of fell apart, and he was setting it. So he's not impossible, and I don't think there should be that kind of disparity in their odds.
Meanwhile, here's another one who, at least last time out, showed he could do it on the front end. Ohana Honor has got the right post and the right rider.
Well, he's got no speed. He's not going to be in front. I mean, it was a slow pace last time, and maybe I'm just sort of dreaming. He got a slow pace, and last time was the time. But the fact that he drew off the win so easily and really improved his figure substantially suggests to me maybe a horse that is improved a lot with more distance. And today's the day to take a shot. At 11-1, I think he makes enough sense and he's not a bad gamble. I'm stretching a little.
And well, he's also got a great post. It's a 3-turn race, very short run of that first turn. He's going to get to save ground. And I agree with you. I think he'll be off the pace. Nation's Pride, with his style, has to work out some sort of a trip from that outside draw. You don't want to be wide on 3 turns.
And you're 4-5 to be wide.
And he hasn't raced, coming back now as a 5-year-old, has not raced since mid-November. Might be the time to try and get him, a horse who was less than a length away from sweeping that Turf Triple Series here in New York back in 2022. Went off a favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf where he wound up 5th, beat by his stablemate. And here's his stablemate today, Silver Knot. Came back as a 4-year-old, impressive. Flavien Prat back aboard after that win in the Elkhorn. The Godolphin duo, formidable. The 8 and 9 in here, but it's Nation's Pride, 4-5 favorite, as Cortez going backwards, trying to calm him down and get him into that gate off that Pan American win.
Sometimes you get a horse reluctant to go to the gate. You've got to back him towards it and then turn him so he's at least in closer proximity to it.
Usual MO, as we heard from Acacia with this horse. And his States debut, impressive with that victory. Joel Rosario back aboard our ABR Race of the Week. A rare losing streak for Charlie Appleby, as they have the blindfold on now with Cortez as well to try and calm him down and get him in that tight space.
Pin the tail of the donkey there. They're turning around, get
trying all the tricks
well,
with him.
You're trying to throw them off where exactly the gate is so they'll walk towards it. Now, interestingly enough, they'll get him in the gate eventually, right? Now they've got the guys packing him. And then the assistant starter will take the blindfold off. In Europe and other countries,
he'd be scratched.
No, you have to take off the blindfold yourself. They put you in and get out, and then it's up to you to pull the blindfold off before the break. As the rider.
But also, at some point, they won't wait for loading, right? Isn't that why Irad Ortiz got in trouble in that race over at Ascot a couple of years ago?
Gets to a point. They're going to go.
He wasn't ready for the start because he didn't realize they would start even with the horse not getting loaded.
Yeah, the clock starts ticking, and they're going to go whether you're in or not at some point.
Joel Rosario patiently waiting. Starting gate crew does their job. He will hop aboard. 5-1 on Cortez. And the odds-on favorite will be last in line. Nation's Pride, his 5-year-old debut coming up. It's the Grade 2 Man of War. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
There. Silver Knot. Harry Hood. John Velasquez aboard. Nation's Pride. 4-5. Nation's Pride. Favorite now steps in. All set for the Grade 2 Man of War. And they're off. Off quickly was So High, and So High right towards the front, but here comes the Godolphin pair. They're going to be part of the early action. Nation's Pride has worked from the outside draw, has gotten immediately into the two path, is going to stalk this pace setter, So High, the long shot, and the favorite Nation's Pride. They're 1-2 into that first turn. Then behind them, Silver Knot is going to be alone in the third position as So High is moving swiftly up front. Just settling into second now, Nation's Pride. That opening quarter was 24 seconds flat. Silver Knot is comfortable enough, is in third. Very strung out here in the early stages. In the fourth spot is going to be Ohana Honor. And behind Ohana Honor comes Tawny Port. Towards the back, Harry Hood. Then Cortez towards the tail end of the field there with Rock and Roll in Greek order. They're chasing So High. So High. Romero Mirage has got the lead, just like he likes to do. His front running style, 48 seconds flat for that half-mile time. Nation's Pride is now well settled here, is just backing off of this pace setter, is just settling in, is in the second position with Silver Knot just right in behind him. The front three are 4.5 lengths clear from Ohana Honor, who's right there in fourth as they work to the backstretch. In behind, Ohana Honor is still. Tawny Port is in the fifth position as they start to close in on So High. From the back, Harry Hood starts a rally with Cortez in Greek order. His second to last, Rocket and Roll is the trailer. 113.48 for 3/4 of a mile. It's So High at 43-1, trying to take them all the way in the Man of War. Here comes Nation's Pride. Just starts to move in closer, is back to within 2 of the leader. Silver Knot has been asked yet. Silver Knot moves into the far turn, has been comfortable throughout, is tracking in third. Ohana Honor gets the hurry up. Tawny Port, same. Also there comes Cortez, who's still 8 lengths off the leader as they reach the top of the lane. And here comes Nation's Pride to the outside of So High, who's all in. Nation's Pride, but Silver Knot is ready to pounce, and Silver Knot has taken the lead. Nation's Pride is trying to stick with his entry mate, but here comes the opening up of Silver Knot. The Godolphin pair are clearly 1-2. Ohana Honor is run up into third. But no doubt, Flavien Prat, a beautiful trip, and it's going to be Silver Knot to win the Man of War. Silver Knot wins it over Ohana Honor. Then came Nation's Pride and Tawny Port in 2 minutes, 13 and 4.
Horse was on the lead last start to win his 4-year-old return in the Elkhorn. It was his stablemate. It was sent early in this race. Silver Knot sits off and gets the win in the Man of War.
What a beautiful trip he worked out. When Nation's Pride was aggressively handled, you knew that one of the Chatterpaw horses were going, and it turned out to be So High. Silver Knot settled so beautifully following the other Godolphin runner, the favorite Nation's Pride. Pratt had him in his hands, and he rode such a beautiful race.
Yeah, no, and he was a dominant winner this race. Absolutely much the best in here, able to settle comfortably, and nobody was really able to make up that much ground in here, which is a bit surprising because the field got strung out, but maybe the best horses were just running 1, 2, 3. 4 to 5 in the 9 was just ridiculous and indefensible based on this horse, this sort of assumption that he's good, which belies his PPs. This horse has at least been competing against decent enough horses. And I'm not saying I particularly liked him. I picked him 4th. I didn't love his chances. But at least it shouldn't have been 4-1. And Ohana Honor gets the second, and I'm a moron for not having the exacta.
Well, I liked Silver Knot because of his recency and the fact that he ran so well last time at 1.5 miles. And you talked me on to the one, Ohana's Honor, so I hit the exacta. I have to thank you.
I don't want to thank you. I want cash.
That ain't going to happen.
Like 80% of your bet.
Obviously,
my fault for not hitting is my
hindsight's 20/20, but that disparity between these two Godolphin runners, 4 to 5 and 4 to 1, did that seem way too big?
Well, we said it before the race, so you say it now, but we all talked about it before the race. The 9 was massively overbet at 4 to 5, and there should never have been this kind of disparity between the two horses.
And how about how single file almost the entire field, save one horse, was throughout the first 5/8 of a mile of the race. Everybody saved ground, head to tail, back, about 12 lengths from first to last.
And nobody had picked up any ground. But on the other hand, it's like they never picked up any ground. So it's almost like they were just all badly outrun. This horse was an absolutely clear-cut, dominant winner of this race. And you'll look back on this and say it's unbelievable that this horse was 4-1 and Nation's Pride was 4 to 5. Not now the Breeders' Cup turf where he was favored somehow. Not the race he's been the most overbetted, Greg.
Yeah, true. Silver Knot, who showed that explosive turn of foot in a runner-up finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf back when he was a 2-year-old. Maybe it's just more ground he wanted all along. He's now 2 for 2, coming back as a 4-year-old in 2 marathon races on the grass. Silver Knot, Charlie Appleby with a win.
The Best 2-Year-Old by legendary sire Quality Road.
Hit back, $1.5 million.
Very, very impressive debut. Cantering home. Could not have been more impressive.
Coast to coast in the American Pharoah. He's the real deal.
Undefeated and unchallenged at 2.
He's just too good. He wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Corniche.
Back on our Saturday coverage, Fox Sports 2, regional networks across the country, and the ABR Race of the Week. Grade 2 Man Award goes to Silver Knot. Flavien Prat been aboard for both wins for this 4-year-old in his return to the races for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin. Our winner circle lead-in brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic May 2-year-olds in training sale after the Preakness on May 28th and 21st in Timonium, Maryland. Where will you be? $10.20 for the win for Silver Knot. Let's go down to Acacia.
And here with winning pilot Flavien Prat, who gets back-to-back graded stakes wins on Silver Knot. Flavien, you got familiar with him last time and really put him in a beautiful spot, forwardly placed today.
Yeah, it turns out well. He got himself into the race, and I was able to get him behind a good horse, and we were traveling well. He was in a good rhythm, and he really kicked on well.
As the pace setter did end up fading, it seemed like the pace overall held together a bit, but you were able to kick on. What did you feel in the stretch?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pace was good for him. He was able to relax, yeah, just a good horse. You know, when I call on him, he responded really well.
It's always be fun being able to ride in the Godolphin Blue.
Oh, absolutely.
Congratulations. Flavien Prat with the win in the Man of War, but the stakes action continues as we head back over to Monmouth, Lafitte, Long Branch coming up next.
Getting closer, Acacia. Keep prep towards the Naira Bets Pegasus. Keep prep towards the Naira Bets Haskell. Monmouth's signature race for 3-year-olds in July. You see the horses on track. Heartened 7-5. All favorites defeated in the 4 graded stakes races at Aqueduct. We'll see about the opening day feature at Monmouth. There he is, 7-5. You're not the biggest fan, Raj.
No, he was defeated narrowly in an allowance race at Keeneland last time. Stepping up to a stakes race here.
Number 2, Sugar Boy, second start in the States after 4 dominating wins in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the horse that I picked actually was on track watching him run in Tampa last time, and I liked what I saw from him.
Mission Ready, just his second start on dirt. An outsider, Crazy Mason, Greg Sacco seeking a second win this afternoon.
Yeah, not much early speed. The blinkers comes off. Expecting this one to be doing his best running in the late stages.
Big overlay, C Streak, the New Jersey bred.
Yeah, consistent horse, been running very credible races, just hasn't quite breaking the barrier down in the last 4 starts.
Lonesome Boy, Washington bred, 4-1.
This Washington bred looks really good on the track. Chased the pace in the Wood Memorial last time, takes a drop down into this stake race today.
Evening News, Jersey Joe Bravo, the only jockey to have swept the Long Branch and Haskell with Lionheart back in 2004.
And as Lionheart, a speedy horse, this one has a lot of speed as well. He'll be showing a lot of early speed, but he hasn't been finishing his races pretty good.
The Long Branch, these 3-year-olds, we touched on what this could lead to with the NYRA Bets Pegasus and NYRA Bets Haskell, some of the more notable winners going way back, and some grass runners, superstars. Della Rose, a Grade 1 Hollywood Derby winner. Miss Selecto. Sultry Song, a Long Branch winner, went back to take down the Hollywood Gold Cup. Whitney and Woodward. Lionheart, as mentioned, and Judmont's First Defense, that Daylight Forgo winner at Saratoga.
Yeah, it was so impressive winning the Forgo. I remember that week, trainer Bobby Franklin, he was searching for a rider to ride this horse, and he said there's no way this horse would get beat, and he won impressive. So
defeated
some good
by
names.
Art Spun in the King's Bishop the year prior, come back and dominates the Forgo. So who's next? Perhaps Harton, pictured with Paco Lopez, 7-5. You mentioned his most recent, last month at Keeneland. Allowance Company, sloppy track. Raj and Harton, he's going to battle here and just get picked off late, and some good race riding at the top of the stretch.
Yeah, and as you can see from this race, he was up on the pace. He was battling between horses, and he seems like a horse with a lot of guts, but he's a steady pace kind of grinder. Now, these kind of horses, they have to try to stay close to the pace, because if he falls too far back early, he won't be able to have the acceleration to pick it up late.
J.K. Paul, how do you see this Long Branch unfolding?
Well, I know JK's on 2 horses here, the 1 and the 6. I like the 2 a little bit and here a little bit, but JK, the 1 going to be tough in here, Harton.
Yeah, it should be tough, but I do think the 6 offers a ton of value in here. I wouldn't ignore that horse if you're trying to fire away one last time on your NYRA Bets account.
Yeah, the other one for me would be Lonesome Boy with Adam Bowman. I thought that horse had good sheet numbers, but they're all going to have to go through the 1 here, Harton and Todd Pletcher and Paco Lopez here in the Long Branch.
Pletcher looking for the Peter Pan Long Branch sweep. Harton, favorite at post time. Matt Dinneman standing by with the call, the opening day feature. Long Branch live on Fox Sports 2.
And they're off in the Long Branch Stakes. Getting squeezed at the break, Mission Ready drops to the back of the pack. Evening News on the far outside, getting into it early. C Streak takes the second spot, and Lonesome Boy a little bit eager right off the speed between that pair now. Moves forward, those 3 across the track into the clubhouse turn. Evening News in the 3 path with the lead. Lonesome Boy sticking to him, and C Streak easing off the pace. He's now third down on the inside. A gap of 4 to Sugar Boy. Harton is next with Crazy Mason, and Mission Ready's at the tail end of the field as they approach the backstretch run. Lonesome Boy with the ears pricked up leads the way under Adam Bowman. It's Lonesome Boy on top by just about a half length. Evening News right there to the outside, and C Streak on a nice hold here, third, coming up to challenge Lonesome Boy down the backside. Harton's getting closer with Sugar Boy. They're side by side. Crazy Mason is next. The first 6 separated by just 2 lengths as they approach the far turn run, and a gap of 3 lengths farther back to Mission Ready as they go into the far turn. Lonesome Boy, C Streak, stride for stride into that turn. Evening News makes it 3 across the track once more. Harton is right behind them. Niggled along as they round the far turn, and C Streak making a nice move to the lead. Lonesome Boy has given way. He's done. Evening News outside right there, and Harton's getting into the race now. Harton taking second at the top of the lane. C Streak cuts the corner, kicks away to a 3-length lead. Harton is second on the outside. Crazy Mason into third, but C Streak is turning on the afterburners. He's 5 ahead. Now it's 6. C Streak. Jairo Rendon with a a huge win in the Long Branch. C Streak, a dominant victor. Harton was second, third was Crazy Mason, and fourth was Lonesome Boy.
Just like the afternoon began, first race of the brand new meet, Jairo Rendon, Eddie Owens, they strike again, this time with C Streak, convincing winner in the Long Branch. Wow.
Yeah, very impressive win, dominating, pulling off to almost a clear 10-length victory. And this must give the confidence, the connections, a lot of confidence, taking that next step en route to the Haskell, which should be the Pegasus, the NYRA Pegasus here.
They can start perhaps Haskell dreaming based on what you saw here with C Streak. How did he make it look so easy in a race that looked competitive on paper? This was an absolute runaway.
Yeah, he was always traveling on the bridle C Streak. You can tell he was pulling his jockey Jairo Rendon early in the early stages. Jairo was doing everything to regulate him, and once he gave him the cue, gave him in his head, he responded the way you'd want your horses to respond.
And for a jockey, he wins the first race of a brand new meet and the opening day feature, setting the tone for the rest of the meet.
That confidence and that feeling is definitely going to give him some good momentum going forward.
C Streak, fitting the New Jersey bred in the opening day feature here as we're off and running in the 79th season at Monmouth Park. Thanks so much for joining us on America's Day at the Races. You can get the results and the remainder of the program over on NYRA Bets. Massive day at Open Aqueduct with the 4 graded stakes races. The Peter Pan and Antiquarian for Todd Pletcher onto the Belmont Stakes. Sounds like it. And Silver Knot, high riding Flavien Prat in the Man of War. And going to go, what a performance. C Streak in the Long Branch. Next stop towards the Haskell. Have a great night.
Welcome back to the studio as stakes action has now concluded at Belmont at the Big A, but the late pick 4 is still up and coming as we have plenty more racing action on the card. Sarah Obadwi here joining you in the studio. And we're taking a look at some New York breds for this maiden special weight event. The fillies and mares going the 6 furlong distance, and it's the 2 horses that are going to be vying for favoritism in Granadilla, as well as the number 4 Mulkey for the Brad Cox barn, horses that are both fairly lightly raced and have some upside in general. But Granadilla is a horse that is taking all of that early action. Ira Ortiz Jr., Rick Dutrow training, no surprise there. She did run better in her second start. running a 63 Beyer speed figure, taking that step forward from 2 to 3 that you like to see as a horse that is one that is going to be forwardly placed in here as well. And I think that that is the main question and dilemma that you face in this race with a horse like Mulkey right to her outside the number 4, who was a very short priced favorite first time out for the Brad Cox barn and did not get the job done. Now, she did put away a horse with some experience in Eastern Star on the front end, but Eastern Star is no star herself, and while the winner of that race, Lake Abenaki, did sit a perfect trip and did come right back to win her next start, it's not as though she improved significantly in terms of her numbers. So Mulkey is going to have to do things a little bit differently today if she's going to get the victory in her second start. And while these two vie for favoritism, and rightfully so, it's the number 2 in Flammabelle as a horse that might be one worth considering underneath. This horse took a big step forward in her second start, and while the note says that she lunged forward at the start, she did really not lose any significant ground or lose any momentum in doing so. She took that nice step forward from her first start to her second and outran her odds significantly in a race where we did see some of those horses return and do well for themselves. Tough Love Torres running well yesterday, second to Sohana, and Peony, of course, the horse that would come back and win, defeating Granadilla in her subsequent start. Pace of the race, a question also with another long shot, number 7, Carol T, a horse that used to show significant speed in her first couple of races, running a good third on debut behind future stakes winner My Main Squeeze and decent stakes placed Dolomite. What has happened over her last couple of races? It's a fair question to ask, but maybe she's one that you can make some excuses for. If she's aggressively ridden yet again, she did have that ability first time out. Late pick 4 starts here.
Horses on the track for today's 8th race. Race 8, 5 minutes away. Scratch the 10. Race 8, late pick 4, 5 minutes.